A few days ago, a group of scientists, doctors, environmental organizers, and concerned citizens got together and they called for the urgent stop to the deployment of 5G. They said that it's been proven harmful to human bodies, that this is an experiment on humanity, and that this should be called a crime under international law.
"5G is a weapon. It's used by the military. Do you know these 5G millimeter wave technologies are used to scatter crowds? They drive up in this technology when they want to scatter a cloud, and they put out these frequencies in a much higher power than 5G will be initially with us, but the same frequencies. And people scatter because they get the feeling their skin is on fire, because the human body, including the skin, is an antenna. It interacts with frequencies and it receives and transmits information. At the cutting edge of understanding of DNA, scientists know that DNA is a receiver-transmitter of information.
I have to tell people 5G story. It's bigger than the Holocaust. It's bigger than anything you've ever heard. I'm Mark Steele. Anybody who hasn't heard me. I'm a weapons systems head-up display expert, one of the leading experts in the world. I've actually brought cover in relation to this, and the reason I became an expert was because I invented 5G as a killer. Do not believe a single word I say. Not one. I want you to do your own research. You'll find it's absolutely terrifying.
There are going to be boxes broadcasting 5G, this weapon, down every street, all over the world.
What we're concerned about 5G is that it's going to require a transmitter about every 3 to 10 homes. So you're talking about a small cell tower placed in front of your home.
Because at these high frequencies, you can't have...
It doesn't travel very well.
Yeah.
And people need to understand, it's 24 gigahertz to 90 gigahertz. These are not 2 feet. These are 2 inches to half an inch. And this is very dense wireless radiation hitting our bodies. What we know is that it pulses more, it's got higher frequency, more waves per second, it beats up the cells more.
Let's talk about today's technology, what we have going on today. Your phone is constantly sending electromagnetic fields in and out of each other. Whether or not you're receiving a notification right now, all of our digital tech sends this data back and forth, right, using these invisible microwave radiation signals. That's today's tech. We have every cell tower, every router constantly pulsing with radiation, whether or not you're using it. Science shows that this causes DNA damage, cancer, among other things. But don't take my word for it.
And that's just with 4G.
That's just with today's technology.
Before we get to 5G, right now you got some of it, but not that much.
Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects. So 5G is not a conversation about whether or not these biological effects exist. They clearly do. 5G is a conversation about unsustainable healthcare expenditure.
So we are electromagnetic, electrical organisms, transmitters and receivers of information. When our electromagnetic fields are in balance and harmony, we have health. We have psychological health and we have physical health. The reason that this technological society is causing so much psychological and, quote, physical disease is because these frequencies, technologically driven, and we live in this Wi-Fi world now and all the phone masts and all the rest of it, these technologically generated frequencies are scrambling the balance of the human electromagnetic electrical communication systems. And if you scramble them, you create a state of disharmony, dis-ease, which plays through to physical and mental, emotional, psychological dis-ease. And there's another point to this. The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with, because we are antenna. Okay. Now, some decades ago, there was a guy who worked out the frequencies of different emotional states. This is long ago. I mean, it's very, very sophisticated now. So every thought, every emotional response is a frequency. It generates a frequency, and it is of itself a frequency. Hate is a frequency, and it's different to love. You know, when you are in a room and there's lots of aggression and conflict and hatred, you feel it. What do people say? Oh God, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife in there. That is because the frequencies of hate and conflict have been so generated, they have changed the electromagnetic field of the room.
Okay, so 5G is going to be weaponized against us potentially.
Yeah, but the point being that they worked out the frequencies of various emotions, including rage and what have you. And basically, they can play across a community these frequencies without anyone knowing, and it starts to have an effect, and it starts to build rage, it starts to build anger, and people might not realize why they're feeling it, but they start to feel it. And then what they do is they trigger that with an event. Maybe some guy is attacked by the police or something, or somebody's arrested for something they didn't commit, and now there's the trigger. The blue touch paper's been lit of this manufactured frequency-driven rage, and you have mass riots and what have you, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do. And you can make people depressed. You know, the American military, they've admitted this. They have technology that fires frequencies at the enemy that basically breaks the enemy's spirit, so they give up and put their weapons down. This is the technology we're dealing with. Now you take that into account and then you think of 5G. First of all, 5G doesn't travel well because of the nature of its frequency. So instead of big towers, as we have now, broadcasting these frequencies long distances, it won't do that. And it doesn't go through solid objects, what we call solid objects, very well either. So to overcome that, there are going to be boxes broadcasting 5G, this weapon, down every street, all over the world. You're talking phenomenal numbers of these boxes, broadcasting like on the lamp standard outside your children's bedroom and stuff, broadcasting this stuff. There's no way you'll be able to go where you'd be in a field of 5G. And another interesting thing, I don't know whether you've noticed this, but the story broke first of all in Sheffield, when the council started cutting down literally thousands and thousands and thousands of mature trees in urban streets. And there were big protests about it. You know, Sheffield claimed to be a green city, but all these mature trees were coming down, thousands of them. And my brother, he works as a call-out bus mechanic. So a bus will break down, they'll call him, we'll come down and fix it on the side of the road. So he's traveling all the time. And he's saying it's amazing how many mature trees are being cut down. Now, the worst nightmare of 5G in a street is mature trees, because it can't get through them. They don't want urban trees for 5G because it won't go through solid objects very well at all, and it doesn't travel far. So we're going to have this explosion of 5G transmitters, and then, going back to what I said earlier, and they've admitted this too, there's going to be like 20,000 satellites up there beaming 5G at the Earth.
What is our exposure in a day? It's not one cell phone. It's cell phones, it's multiple wireless networks, it's smart meters, it's cell towers. It's this sandwich, and it all adds up. And this is a serious problem for occupational health, public safety, and personal safety. And I feel that it's irresponsible to be even talking about the Internet of Things and rolling out a new untested technology when we're not even measuring what are our current...
Hey guys, I'm here today with Tim Wilcox, who's the head of International Investigators in Indianapolis. He's an old friend of mine. He knows lots of stuff. a lot of interesting history. And his cousin wrote a book called Target Patton. Tim had a lot of hand in this thing, and I thought you guys would really enjoy hearing some of what Tim has to say about this, especially in as much as Bill O'Reilly has made the whole killing Patton thing popular now. Maybe you want a little bit of the real story. Tim, thank you very much for taking time with us at My Service Pride. Talk to me.
My cousin Bob has been a writer for many, many years. He's just a few years younger than me. And I just happened to be chatting with him one time about Patton being assassinated, because my cousin's a World War II history buff. His father was a decorated colonel in the war, and so he couldn't believe that Patton was assassinated. And so I said, well, I know the guy that did it, and or was involved in the assassination. And Douglas Bazada, who we had hired before to do special ops for us.
We meaning?
My company,
okay.
International Investigators, and primarily to extract kids from other countries that were taken illegally from our country. And so I got to know him pretty well. And he was introduced to me by Nick Longworth, who's an old friend and was involved in Washington politics. Mm-hmm. And so we gave assignments to Douglas Bazada on several occasions, and I got to know him pretty well. And he was kind of intimating that he was involved in the assassination of the most famous general of World War II. And he'd actually taken some polygraph tests, and he'd passed those. And so I said, maybe to my cousin, maybe you ought to interview this guy. He was probably 85 or 86 years old at that time. He was one tough dude. He was the Marine Corps heavyweight boxing champion from 1935 to 1941. He was assigned to the OSS and a special operation called the Jedburgh, which is like the Navy SEALs now. They dropped Bazada behind the German lines, and he was very successful. And then during the occupation, after the war was over in Europe, General Wild Bill Donovan was the head of the OSS, and sometime in the fall of 1945, he assigned a special operation to Bazada to kill Patton. We don't know exactly where the orders originated from, but probably the commander-in-chief, which is President Truman at that time.
Yeah. Why would Truman have wanted Patton killed?
Pressures from the Soviet Union, pressures from General Eisenhower.
Because Patton was wanting to invade.
Patton was, I guess you could call him a little bit out of control. He was trying to marshal forces to invade the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Had he been successful, he would probably have eliminated the Cold War, and who knows what that would have saved his country.
Can you imagine?
So there was apparently two other unsuccessful attempts at killing Patton. One was sometime in the fall of 1945. He was driving in the back seat of his Jeep through some small town, and the bad guys knew about it, and so they were going to drop a cable down and garrote his head. And it was coming almost like Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther. He drops his cigar and reaches down, and just as the cable went by, and so he survived that. And then there was another situation where he was in a reconnaissance plane, a Piper Cub, overlooking parts of Poland, and somebody got a hold of a Polish Spitfire and tried to shoot him down, and Patton's pilot was better and outmaneuvered it. So that was the second time.
And I read in here that that they observed 4 aircraft overhead, as if the other aircraft were doing reconnaissance for this operation below.
It was a major operation to kill him.
Yeah.
A lot of Bob's information came directly from Douglas Bazada, because he gave him 2 huge boxes of diaries and journals and documents and things like that.
That's amazing.
He went to the National Archives and tried to find the investigation and the report of the medical reports and all that. Everything disappeared from the National Archives. But what actually happened is the third attempt was going to be the day before he was going to leave for the U.S. to resign his commission. And he and General Gay went hunting in Germany the day before, and on the way back, there was a plot to kill him with a special air rifle that shot a mushroom-shaped projectile.
Was this Bozada's?
This was Bozada's operation.
He was laying in wait with this air rifle.
Yeah, and somebody had stolen a deuce and a half from a motor pool, and the deuce and a half ran into the front of Patton's Cadillac limo, caused a minor accident. Patton was, at the precise time, was shot in the back of the head with this thing. It broke his neck, threw him forward to the glass partition between the front and the back seat. Had all kinds of lacerations on his head, and they thought he was dead, but he actually survived that. And General Gay, who was sitting in the back seat with him, didn't even have a bruise on his knees. So it was all contrived through Bozada's operation. Yeah. They take him to past several hospitals to another hospital in Heidelberg, and they put him in some kind of a special neck brace, and the neck brace was not working for him. His vital signs were diminishing. This all happened on December 11th, 1945. His vital signs were diminishing, and the next day the media was there, and there happened to be a British neurosurgeon that happened to be there. Looks at the x-rays, looks at the device on his head, and he says that's the worst thing you can possibly do. Changed it around so it was more effective. In the next few days, his vital signs came back, and I think on December 19th, he had a press conference, and he announced to the media that he was going to go back to...
Patton had a press conference?
He was back. Oh, he was sitting up in bed drinking his bourbon and giving the nurses a hard time. And so he announced to the media at like 10 o'clock in the morning that he was going to go back to Walter Reed for final recovery and go back into civilian.
Is there footage of that?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he was dead. No autopsy, no pathology, no toxicology. The medical reports disappeared from the National Archives. The investigation reports have all disappeared. And Bob is really chronicalized everything that happened in this book, and you draw your own conclusion. But the conclusion that you would have to draw just from logic is that Patton was assassinated.
Now, was the operation in the hospital Bozada's action, or was he done with the air rifle?
The Soviet NKVD had totally infiltrated the OSS.
Yeah.
So it was probably a Soviet-inspired assassination.
And the OSS was a precursor to the CIA.
Yes.
Fascinating. Well, guys, this is an amazing book. If you've read O'Reilly's, or if you have heard some of the noise and you want the real story, Robert K. Wilcox, Tim's cousin, Target Patton, you can get it on his website, you know.
I think it's robertkwilcox.com.
The greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated to. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free.
What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers.
We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds, who wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air. That's the reason I collect so many guns in my lair. I ain't never caught slipping, never underprepared. Yeah, they shade sign on me, they just spray it proudly. George Bush, the grandson of Alistair Crowley. They want you to believe the lie that the enemy's Saudi. The enemy ain't Saudi, the enemy around me. It's fluoride in the water, but nobody know that. It's also a prominent ingredient in Prozac. For real? How could any government bestow that upon people who believe in political throwback? That's not all that I'm here to present you. I know about the Black Pope and Solomon's temple. Yeah. About the Vatican assassins and how they will get you, and how they clone Barack Hussein Obama in a test tube.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, out in the clouds, who wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end.
Whoever built the pyramids had knowledge of electrical power, and you know that that's the information that they suppress and devour. Who you think the motherfuckers that crashed in the tower? Who you think that made it turn into ash in an hour? The same ones that invaded your own, the ones that never told you about the skeletons on the moon. Yeah, the ones that poison all the food you consume, the ones that never told you about the Mount Vesuvius tombs. Right. The bird flu is a lie, the swine flu is a lie. Why would that even come as a surprise? Yeah, the polio vaccine made you die. It caused cancer and it cost a lot of people their lives. Do y'all know about Bohemian Grove? How the world leaders sacrificing children in robes? Lucifer is God in the public school system. I suggest you open up your ears and you listen.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, out in the clouds, who wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
If you can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see, you got them. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.
And that's what everybody hears to start off with. Fuck me.
That's right. That's the way of life. Yeah, it's like GGP in the booth. We're the truth. We don't need to go to church in a suit. Every verse is the proof. You know, I drink 100 proof. Cops search the coop. I got some herb in my boot. When the horsemen coming through, the outcome critical. Fucking with our style, the outcome, it's going to get physical. That's right. Tonight, if you step to us, we might just bust that head. You've had enough of all these Marx infidels trying to tell us to stay in our lanes when we're taking the lanes to 5 lanes every which way we want to go. So ride with us. It's the Conspiracy Horsemen here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horsemen. YOLO. Yeah, suckers. Fuck this life. That's the only way to live. Carpe diem as we seize it here every day, all day. What else to say, man? I'm glad to be back here with my brothers tonight. Kind of a interesting show based off of last week's Conspiracy Horseman at gmail.com general neutral messaging system from one of our soldiers out there, and something that was cool to look into, some sidebar conversations, and we'll catch up on all the news.
Is that your dog drinking water?
Yeah. He's going all in. He's going all in on that one, man.
Every time.
As he lives life to the fullest. Shout out to Shemp and all the dogs of war out there. Maybe you're out there with your road dog listening to us as we have truckers on the road. I know there's a couple of them out there. There's police in the UK to the USA, all the way to Border Patrol that's listening to us, man. So we appreciate everybody out there on the road and all the pets that are listening, boosting our ratings. GGP, man, how you doing this week, man? Good to see you. It looks like you got the fade tightened up this week there as it was growing in, man. Went back to the #1 shave spot.
Yeah, man. Doing well. That's basically it. Thank you for the show, and good night, folks.
New champ.
Oh, yeah. Another belt in my collection. New Alpha Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. Actually had a decent, great match with a good hand. Kid name is Chris Banks. So all you promoters out there who are marking out and listening to this program, give the kid a shot. He's actually a good hand, and he has a good look. He actually looks like he works out. He wears professional gear. So give the kid a follow and book him.
Awesome, man. Congrats. It was good in Immortal, and just announced GGP will be on that show on the 21st as we go back to Amsterdam and Immortal Championship Wrestling as I am the new Middle Eastern champion. A great time over there, crushing these stupid morons who thought they were cut their little promos. Oh, I'm going to win the title. I'm going to win the... No, I'm going... none of you will win the title, moron. So it was a good faked an ACL injury, came in, clutched him out, 1, 2, 3. Give me the envelope, infidels. We're back on the air. So
99% of the gate, bro.
The conspiracy horsemen overstrong once again. Man, what are you sipping on over there? Meltzer seltzer?
My little lemon lime Meltzer seltzer, followed by my coffee over here. So it's a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll.
Nice. Arnold Parmy all the way. Sal kicks out strong after a big Molson Canadian 6-pack and a quart of moonshine last week. What brew do we have going this week, man? Good to see. I see the horn on the wall. Time on the wall, is that Transylvania time? What official time are we in?
That is Pennsylvania time. It's like the news now. Now I'm official.
Okay.
Trying to be a little more professional. Being on the iPad is freedom. I can just go anywhere the fuck I want. Anywhere I decide to set up shop is where I'm doing this. So.
Hey, your setup is actually better than Oberman's, though, when he did it in the basement. Did you ever see that one? Keith Oberman, when he got fired from MSNBC, he was literally in a basement.
He was going crazy. Yeah, you look good, man. That iPad is actually the best camera out of all of us, I think. Looks really good and sharp here on Twitch, so it's always nice to see it. I'm excited now to see where Sal going to be next, man. Yeah, I just got
Where in the world is Sal instead of Carmen Sandiego? Where's Sal Graziano?
I literally on the way home, I said I should next time I'll just go to work. I'll bring my iPad on a Wednesday and just stop somewhere random, like a Starbucks or some shit with a strong Wi-Fi, and just do the show from there. Not give a fuck who's around me.
That'd be awesome. What do you got on the Witch's Brew tonight? Anything concocted? Or are you taking the night off?
No, it's just some iced tea and vodka.
Okay. I gotta say thanks to Triple D as he made it home from Greece after a nice 2.5 week earned vacation. He's right back at the grind at Dippin' Donuts, trying to get that one set up in Pennsylvania. And,
yeah, he's there, right? Because I saw somebody in the shop. It probably wasn't him, though.
Are you talking about? Are you talking about in the East End, or I'm just?
Wait, look at this.
Big 1.75, a dirty gentleman Jack. So usually I'm not a Jack Daniels drinker because of the charcoal filter, but it's Gentleman Jack, so it should be a little smoother. We also have the Guggenheimer back here. So, man, we're stocked to the gills with dirty brown liquor. And, we'll see how it goes. But I was going to say that iPad may come in even more handy, as Stevie and I had a pretty cool little interaction today with Switcher Studio. Maybe going forward, might be doing something that way. Grow the platform, but very cool technology, and we're going to do some previews for it. And Stevie or everything, man, but could be very cool because it's a high-end video editing Mac software. We're using some cool stuff now, but you never know, man, what the future holds here. Better streaming and better quality for all of our shows, hopefully. Stevie, what are you thinking, man?
Well, they haven't paid us yet, so be careful how much you talk about them. No, It was a good call. Trying to potentially this is what we were hoping and praying for, that we were going to have in 2020, that mini college tour that we talked about, where the four of us will be on stage in Switcher Studio or any kind of platform like that, along with some good audio gear, would be a good way to present, and then have that footage to use afterwards. So
Stevie, what kind of audio gear would you suggest?
Probably a gaming headset or an iPad with earpods.
Target, go to Target.
Because obviously the $1,000 setup doesn't sound good enough as of now. So we'll see. I claim to be, but I'm the person that's got to get to do the review at first and all that stuff. So I got to get to review their products, and there's an audio company, Saramonic, that they're going to send some stuff. So we'll be hooked up by the end of the year, hopefully, with enough to do. Just got to get paid. Got to get booked, right, Popping On?
I'm retired.
No, I'm retired from the wrestling. I'm not retired from the speaking engagements.
I'm retired from the speaking engagements. I'm retired.
I don't know about that, because we're coming to New York City. New York City, October 20th.
You're going to be there, Ben?
I'm going to try my best, man, to be honest with you. I mean, you know where I am in my life, and a phone call can shift my whole life in kind of a week's time right now. So I'm very fluid and open to it. If I am able to, I am definitely going to do my best to be there. October 20th. You can get tickets now. Crow 777, a bunch of of our affiliates, as well as Billy Ray Valentine, putting this whole thing together. Kind of our first dip into New York City conspiracy realm of where people can come from the tri-state area in there and all get together. I'm going to try and be there. I'm sure GGP will be, obviously, Big Ray, and I'm sure Bello, and I'm sure obviously Billy Ray Valentine, and who knows else. Probably the PW Hustle guys will all be there as we try and do our first summit there that way. So tickets are on sale now. I think they're only $20, man. They're nothing crazy.
Sal, you gonna come up?
For what?
For a cup of coffee. What do you mean for what? What did you just feel? Fucking guy gets an apple. Look, now he's bigling us. For what? Me? Nah.
He's retired too, but it should be cool. And I mean, if this lays the foundation for that, and obviously the show we want to put together, maybe just for colleges. Excited about any partnerships going forward. And as I've talked briefly about, I still have to talk to all our producers, is how media expands into a larger overview and platform. There's going to be a lot more opportunity as we partner with Russo brand as well. It's going to be awesome. So I'm excited for 2020 right now.
Oh, well, I want to speak up for a second because everybody's been getting on me ever since I put up the Instagram story that I got the Manscaped package, and they wanted me as an affiliate. So everybody wants me to read the copy for the Manscaped promo.
Oh, absolutely.
Do I have to do this now? Let me get everybody up here.
You can't set it up.
I was going to wait
that.
for Breaking Sal, but you don't know the interval, or if they'll get scrubbed by by the higher ups. All right, here we go. You can go to manscaped.com, enter Stevie20 on checkout to save 20% on your order, and let's read it off here. Precision tools for your family jewels. Manscaped makes manscaping easy. Maximum performance manscaping tools. Always use the right tools for the job. Quotes. When you trim the hedges, the tree stands taller. The ultimate male hygiene hack. Present manscaping accent. Just enter the fucking code. I want some affiliate money. That's not
What is it? Enter code.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
You put deodorant in your armpits. Doesn't it make sense to put it down there?
I got a question. You're not Hispanic, so why are you landscaping? What's going on?
Kayate.
There we go. And they sent me page 2, of course. But
it was hold on. I'm sorry. It was a joke. It was a joke. I'm sorry, guys. Not for you. I'm talking about the fans.
That's a good. Some of them are saying actually. That's a great segue.
Wow.
That's a great segue. We were talking off air, Ben and I, about the Chappelle special on Netflix. The cancel culture.
I heard about it, but I didn't want to watch it. Is it good?
I've watched it.
It's good. So there's a couple. I'll say, I've been saying the pen.
Ben, you're breaking up.
Yeah, Ben's.
And here
sounds like Eugene.
Worship use comedy not as a weapon, not as a weapon.
Start over again, dude.
Start over again. You were breaking. Okay. You were breaking up.
Okay, sorry. So, this is the pendulum kind of swinging back a bit as we've seen it go way far one way. Here's somebody who made everyone laugh before that shit went on. So he's going to have some cred, right? But he walks the line and punches both sides how he should. He doesn't weaponize it to attack anybody. But it's the fact that he even says about lesbian, gays, transsexuals, or whatever it is, they don't even want to hear the joke. They just know that word is coming out of his mouth and he shouldn't be saying it, so they just jump the line. So Vice News puts out this story of saying you can skip Chappelle's new comedy series because it's just as transphobic and racist as he ever was or what have you. When the reason that he does that is to let the air out of conversations that have become far too explosive, and they're just putting their hands over their ears saying la 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 because they don't want to lose any ground that they've gained through their victimization that they fucking monetized, and now here it comes back the other way, and it's time to start fucking slapping some faces, and they do not like it. But there's no such thing as bad press. And now this cancel culture that tells you to stand up and boycott something does nothing more than drive more viewers to your product. And it's an interesting step. So I think it's very funny. I don't think he crossed the line. He talked very, he went in on some things that were like, okay, with LGBTQ and how each of them have to interact in society, even though they aren't necessarily exclusive to one another. They're all in the same car riding together. So it's a great special all the way around. But and as he walks away, here's the fun stuff.
It wasn't like anything you said had a great
No.
But
here, I got to put it over. Is I'm watching him with the keen comedy eye. I've been watching Dave Chappelle since he was 17, 18 years old on MTV Half Hour Comedy Hour, right? 92, 93. Yeah. So I've seen Chappelle's delivery, and
I was gonna ask you this. I wanted to get to this. Clone or no?
Yeah, dude. I gotta go. 2% of me. I'm gonna not 1%. 2% of me believes it. Not clone, but possible body double that they have taught to do the delivery, because there's no reason for him to be on the gas, like, unless he's going to do an action career, right? Like, whatever it is. And in this special, he wears like a full jumpsuit that kind of covers up his full body and what his body type is. And that's suspicious to me. He kind of looks like a janitor thing, so I get what he's trying to do maybe that way, but that's
like dude from Half-Baked?
Right. It's something to put a pin in. And when he does the Dave Chappelle walk away, like laugh at his own jokes and then comes back, you know, sometimes it seems like a forced spot where he knows he's supposed to do it and not Dave in the moment of cracking up anymore. Like he's doing the Chappelle spots
to make sure he gets in the quintessential Dave-isms.
Right.
Right.
But they're not, for anyone who's been watching Dave Chappelle as long as I have, where I was into his stand-up before Half-Baked and all that shit, they're just not the snap that they used to be. And you say, oh, that's weed, slowed him down, or he's on the gas and that's why his voice changed, or even, nah, dude, the dude's frame is bigger and different from Dave's skinny ass arms. Even when Dave did the Block Party movie, if you compare that Dave Chappelle to who it is now, I think that's one of the last real Dave Chappelle's like performances. Something happened in a version there, and it was
if you watch the trailer with him walking in the desert, his shoulders, like, it's not boulder shoulders like from muscle. It's bone structure. His shoulders are so wide when he's like, and it looks like there was somebody else that had a body double that went to an award show or a Marvel movie opening or something. I forget what it was, but it looks more like that guy who was kind of like a working body double for other people. It's really strange. Monroeville Muller, real quick, he said he watched it last night. Not only was it funny, but it was the most important piece of observational humor since George Carlin. Great point, because George Carlin would be banned from everything today. And he's probably one of the greatest comics that ever lived.
Oh, absolutely. And there's been plenty of stories you've seen posted as clickbait. Chappelle saying this is the worst time to be a celebrity and da-da-da-da. Well, it is, as far as, you know, they want to drag you over the coals. But if you got a real argument, it's time to step up and toe the line and not let them gain ground. Because if they come at you, you can swat them down with truth and satire, which is the most powerful weapon in all of media. I've said that plenty of times. And who's going to lay it down harder than Chappelle on him, if that is the real Chappelle who can come back in real time and really use that. But, man, I say to anybody who watched it, clone or not, like, go back and see it. It doesn't seem like there's something different. Like you said, Steve, the bone structure, like we've seen tons of people on gas get huge. We're seeing it happen right now for debuts of shows. But, you know, there's plenty of that doesn't add up with this, where he's not like that, dude. The shoulders are wider, the neck is different, the head structure is similar, the face is so close that anybody with if a studio wanted to say we're getting our $50 million out of him, we're going to pay this guy $5 million and put $1 million into acting coaching with him, or maybe he was Dave's body double before that and nobody knew of him and they just subbed him in. Something is different there, dude.
Well, let's get back to the cancel culture stuff that these people now are so offended. By the way, what they try to do, I read some of the reviews because I haven't seen it yet, but I'm interested to see how they react to it. They're saying like he's not funny, shocking, bore, Like they're trying to use all these things to discredit him as not being funny, or the people that were laughing were only laughing because they felt like they had to. Ben, you've been in comedy for how many years? How many people in the audience, if they have the chance to heckle or bury a person, are they going to take it, or they feel like, well, we have to laugh and be nice because it's the Netflix special? He's what's that?
It depends on the house you're playing for. I just watched Cat Williams. Yeah. Black audience will heckle you all day if it's like that. But where he was doing the Atlanta show, and he even puts it on Atlanta, is about the closet gays that are there who are married. That there's a whole culture of that too. So he really lays in some truths that like people are like, oh shit, he's real close to home right here, and that's just how they come back with more crying of skip it. He's doing the thing. Don't let him get to us and divide. Like, dude, they don't want to look in the mirror at themselves. That's the worst thing that they could possibly do.
So Cat Williams did a special from Atlanta talking about a down low Atlanta scene.
No, that's what Chappelle did. I just watched Cat Williams. I was saying, because he was asking me about different crowds. Will they sit there because it's a Netflix special and be cool, or will they yell a black crowd? I was like, I just watched Cat Williams from 2006, and all they did was heckle him. And Cat just sits there and he listens, waiting for something that he can go off on. So an arena full of black audience for Chappelle would be far different than the whitewashed white audience of.
I was gonna say, I'm sure the Netflix audience is. My uncle, who's an executive, got me tickets.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring my 12 girlfriends to take up the front row.
Yeah. So they really do a ton to go in on that, but it is a very poignant step of where we are in 2019 in comedy culture to say, all right, what happened in 2019 that defines us as a society? And he carved out his etch right there, I think, you know. Eddie Murphy's coming back. That's going to be the next, like, we'll see. Mm-hmm. You know, will they allow it, you know?
I just feel like it's going to be a big letdown. Like, okay, Eddie Murphy's funny. Everybody laughs at him in his movies that he hasn't done Eddie Murphy Raw, Axel Foley in 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, he's been doing Ice Cube comedies, which is ridiculous. That has to be a thing. Ice Cube daddy comedies. And he's going to come out, and even if he's totally dropping F-bombs like he used to, nobody cares. Like, it's now it's just almost everyday vocabulary. No one gives a fuck.
Is he going to be able to shake it up Chris Rock style, or is it just going to be a nostalgia fest? Is he really going to do something that's cutting edge? Because when he tries to come back, dude, they're going to play Eddie Murphy Raw and all shit.
I was going to say
all the gay shit that he slams in there, dude. All of that is going to come one right after another. They're loaded for bear, waiting to hit him with it, dude.
I want to at least call one. He's going to do one fucking stupid Eddie Murphy laugh to get everybody to clap.
Yeah.
He's going to,
Charlie.
He's going to do his impersonations. Oh yeah. Big Charlie Murphy shit.
Yeah.
More, get more babyface fucking put over. And then it'll be some of his old, I guarantee he'll bring up an old joke just to get the crowd on his side. Yeah. And then he'll be like, fuck that, we got that shit out of the way. Like he didn't want to do that. He did that for them.
I think you're spot on in the booking. I think you got the first opening act nailed right there. And then all he needs is 40 minutes of new shit, and boom.
You just take Charlie Murphy shit.
You want to get to in the cancer that I put out again there.
You were like, and then boop. By the way, Eddie Murphy would be smart if he basically just talked about his life, like when he picked up the transvestite, when he did all this other shit that people make fun of him for. If he just comes out and talks and almost self-deprecating, he tells the stories in a funny way, that would be like he'd probably win an award for it.
Yeah, he would. Well, I told you guys in the latest season, he's with Seinfeld, and he puts over, like, he does his little yeah, man, it's crazy. You know, like does his little impersonation, but he puts over that what's his nuts, Sammy Davis Jr. about the Satanism stuff and like how he got real serious. If you believe in the world, there's more hate. What do you think drives everything? Hate or you know, like. And Eddie was like getting into it, like it got really dark for a minute on Comedians in Cars and getting coffee. I'd like to see what
Seinfeld tuck and rolled out of the car.
Yeah, dude. They're in a booth, and like then it just like cuts, dude. But for a minute, it was like a glimpse into like, you know, what was Eddie's indoctrination in 83, 82, like who he was rolling with. You know, like that's a whole different time, different scene, man. And a lot of that stuff is going to come back. I think what Stevie was trying to get to a little bit as well is last night on Russo during Master Shoot, we went in a little hard, you know, but satire, and it's all off of what Vince has really done. And I can break this down, but you know, this whole Roman Reigns whodunit angle is blown up in their fucking face. Like they had an idea, then they killed it, and then they wrote it on the fly, and now they're fucked with it fully. It's trash. So we came up with I just did an improvisation that they were it was a new character, Lou Chemia, as was the guy trying to kill him. And, you know, it was going to be Velveteen Dream that got called up because he wanted to get called up, and that was going to be his new gimmick. You know, and it's the satire of it, but like this is what Vince tried to do with Moxley, with Ambrose, trying to get him to go out and say some crazy shit. So you think after all of the gimmicks from TL Hopper to Sal Sincere, that somewhere on a piece of paper, Lou Chemia wasn't written down as a call up for possibly Lars Sullivan or something. Stone Cold puts when he came up with that, all the names were like based around Frigid or what, like Dr. Freeze type shit.
Iceman, so, the Iceman.
Yeah. So is somebody asshole with a 18 follower Twitter account going to chop that out of Russo? Tag Reigns, try and fucking bury us? Absolutely they are. Are we going to no-sell it? Sure. Is it satire and based off of absolute reality of what's happened back there? Yeah, so we own the platform. Nobody's taking me off nothing, son. So it's just an interesting of how far are we going to go in this cancel culture to try and fucking cry about every single thing. What do you think, GGP?
I think you hit the nail on the head. This culture that we live in right now. What?
Lou Chemia.
What do you think? Do you think it's going to make money?
I don't think it'll be that. I don't think it would be that smooth.
Well, I think if you guys knew the backstory and what's going on now, actually, this guy Lou Chemia is retired. So he bowed out of the angle last minute. He's holding out for more.
He went back into remission.
Yeah, that's exactly that was the name of the finisher.
That was his tag team, Men on a Remission.
Oh God! But
this is what the writing meeting should be like. By the way, this is really what the WWE writing meeting should be.
God damn, pal, that's great. That's genius, pal. I'm glad I thought of it. Men on Remission. I think it's not on a piece of paper. It is, dude.
But you hit the nail on the head, man. This culture that we live in today, you can't even fart the wrong way because people are offended so easily. What?
Okay, I got a quick one. This perfectly. Thank you, GGP. So I talked to my mate Brett Logan, and he tells me over the weekend he had a show. He's wearing a shirt that says "I poop," and then on the back it says "Even hot chicks do it." Right? So the shirt alone pops me. A woman came up to him and said, "I find that very offensive." And fucking Brett's fiance was like, "Fuck off. Go fuck yourself." Somebody actually waited for him to come off stage to tell them that that she was offended by his fucking shirt. Like at a concert. Awesome. You have nothing better to do. Like, it just doesn't make fucking sense. And GGP's fart thing is exactly like, and just in case you thought that's just an example, no, because something really happened over the weekend just like that. So
doesn't surprise me, man. It doesn't surprise me. At the end of the day, if you're not in the narrative or you're not sitting at the table talking about what everyone else is talking about and wearing what everyone else is wearing, you're just trying to be yourself in your own lane, You're castrated, you're demonized, you're labeled. You're basically exactly what all these people say they're against. Those tactics are what they use to try to get their point across and throw their little fit. Like a little 5-year-old kid who doesn't want to put back, the package of cookies in the supermarket when the mother says, no, I'm not buying you the cookies. I bought you the 16-week resistant band program so you can get those scrawny arms in order so you don't have to fucking get put in your locker by Brock Lesnar over there. So
yeah. Well, I mean, what is the extension of that? I feel like we're at the high water point of somebody's going to come up to you at a show after you get off stage to bitch at you about your shirt instead of saying thank you for the performance. You rocked. Like, what's the next step from there? They have to take the shirt off of you, or that
turn it inside out.
Yeah, and turn it inside out. And when you say no, the next step is a physicality. So we're right at that fucking line of somebody doing it. Now, are some people going to step over the line and catch a fucking hot dose of reality with 5 fingers upside the fucking face?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
But that's a small percentage. We're right there. Now it's starting to swing back. Now it's going to come back to, I've gone too far with this. I know what I'm saying right now. I'm half a fucking retard with the things that are coming out of my mouth. Like I know this is indefensible, and there's 15 different ways you could chop my legs off from under me. So we're going to start creeping back a little bit to the centrism. Not saying they're going to go far the other way, because believe me, it's where people are extreme on the other side, they're going to go that way too. Whether it's people outside abortion clinics and all that type of shit who've amped it up to a ridiculous level as well. But those of us who have been marginalized, I feel there will be a 10% on each side push back to some common sense reality. There will still be crazy shit, but who's going to come up to somebody? I would love to see it at a wrestling show. Your gear offends me, Hameen. You fucking take it off. Okay. All right. Please take it off.
Fuck. What about, dude, the first time when you sent me the shirt? You sent me the Hameen shirt, and I wore it to the game store, and the fucking Civil War reenactment guy was like, that shirt could be offensive. Do you even know who the fuck this is?
I'd be like, this isn't on brand for your reenactment. Like a Civil War guy should not even know what Arab dudes are even up to.
I walked by and they had heat. People could take offense to that shirt. Oh, that's a shame. That's a fucking shame, isn't it?
That's when you look at the guy and say, I can say the same thing about your face. Now do your fucking job and shut the fuck
ridiculous. Up. Like, it's just, and the thing is, it's not just, they take it, okay, way back in the day, back in the fucking 90s, all right, if somebody wore an offensive shirt, like even a shirt that said fuck you, it was like, oh, that guy's edgy.
Yeah.
Right? And that was it, because it wasn't an everyday occurrence. Now every shirt is edgy. You can buy any shirt that offends someone somewhere, not, obviously not my Pro Wrestling Tee store, but, one of them that accepts those sort of things. And you can get offended you can offend someone else from any sort of fucking show of humor of any kind. And truth, this is a true story, anecdotal. I had a shirt that said I'm too drunk to fuck, so just suck my dick. And it was my fucking edgy, funny shirt that I would only wear to like a concert. I'd go see Guar, I would wear that shirt. Shit like that.
Yeah.
Never had an issue. Never had a problem. And the one day I wore it to go to Wawa, and it fucking blew up. It came down on me, and I couldn't fight back because it's my fault. Like it's an offensive shirt, and I wore it out in public in a non-offensive place.
Nice.
And I was yelled at by a bunch of people, and I felt like a heel, and I fucking left with my head down. And I was like, sorry.
Well, I mean, my whole Pro Wrestling Tees store is based on that, where Tuttle's in the chat room said his son got sent home for wearing the Hameen shirt. It probably was the $5 face slap shirt because that's little Hameen. And then he's got the other one too. He's got the Hameen face. And then the Heels Over Strong shirt with me and Trump can trigger people both. I mean, that shirt is designed to not only trigger people who hate Trump, but are trying to push the Islamic thing during the pussy hat stuff. But also for Trumpers to be like, fuck, now I got to put over an Arab dude who are going to hate all this shit. So it does a double fucking gut shot on them, And then I remember when I was in Louisville and the very first Hameen shirt came out, where I even broke up the letters where it says Infidel Crusher, so it doesn't really say anything because the letters aren't connected. I think he was a Muslim dude from like a Serbian type state. He wasn't, Arab, Pakistani or anything like that. He's like, bro, you can't wear that around here. He's like, dude, you'll cause too much problem with people. I was like, oh, okay. Like, my whole thing is to punch both fucking sides. So,
right.
Love the fact you really it has to be a deep cut on my shirts to get somebody pissed off. But man, there's nothing better than just like, holy shit, a piece of art. I didn't have to say anything. It's all your own shit that you are projecting. I love that shit, dude. I love it more than anything.
Stevie, what do you love?
I love 32-degree cold shirts, and you can save 10% off by entering Stevie10 if you go to 32degrees.com. There you go. Actually, I don't even wear it. I don't even wear. I just wear my regular old whatever.
Well, you
so
guys,
wait a minute.
You guys,
I find the BWO shirt
shirts
offensive now, so I don't wear it anymore.
What's the 32-degree shirt? Is it a shirt that keeps you cold? Because I'll buy it.
Keeps me very cool, actually. They're the thinnest, most comfortable. Probably have fucking stuff from Fukushima in it that's going to kill me, but it's very comfortable. Like
do you make Jurassic Park
like
sizes?
$8,
I'll buy
dude.
them.
They're like $8.
I'll wear that because I don't like being hot, Stevie.
I don't like
It's a good thing you're retired and you're living off Social Security. You can afford those $8.
You got your fucking booking on the 21st. Stop it.
Oh shit! Paul Marzola says he wore his conspiracy.
Don't get on these clone shoulders and try to ride.
He wore his conspiracy horseman shirt at a casino. Was asked what this conspiracy horseman were. He said it was a podcast, and then the guy was like, "Joe Rogan's cool." He said, "Joe Rogan's got nothing on these guys." You goddamn right he does.
Absolutely.
Fuck Joe Rogan. Still waiting for Stevie to punch him in the lips.
Yeah.
He won't do it.
No,
Joe.
I'm retired. Hey, Rogan started to walk it back the other way. Oh, you know what's interesting before we get into the Patton thing? You know the guy listening to Deep Thoughts Radio? He has a YouTube channel, but also podcast. He broke down the Bob Lazar story and the Bob Lazar documentary. You got to listen to it or watch it on YouTube. Made me look at a lot of shit. What's that?
Send the link to the chat.
I don't want them watching it while we're on.
No, not their chat, our private chat.
Okay. Yeah. So
it's
Lucky,
Bob
thanks for
Lazar on
listening.
with who? Sorry?
What's that?
It's Bob Lazar on with who, did you say?
No, Bob Lazar. Well, the guy, he was on Rogan, but he had the documentary, the Bob Lazar documentary.
Oh,
and this guy from Deep Thoughts Radio broke it down like just common sense stuff that just shot holes all throughout his story and really opened my eyes up to a bunch of different things and even said, he was like, I wanted to not believe the Roswell thing, and I ended up believing that. He goes, I wanted to believe Bob, but I find out after I'm looking at all this different stuff, like his education and all that stuff and everything. What's that?
It discredits Lazar in a lot of ways.
It discredits him more than gives him credibility. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see that.
And he calls it out for what we would see, but we didn't because we kind of were into that. But he calls it out a lot to creative liberties to make the documentary mysterious. He's like, no, this should be this way and all that stuff. So I highly recommend that video. It's really interesting.
Awesome, man. I definitely hope that everything Lazar says is true as the Area 51 thing even now ramps up, but it's all a marketing ploy for whatever the fuck they're trying to do behind the scenes.
You know what's a good thing you guys should listen to?
Yeah.
The NFO podcast on Hami Media Group. We filmed our episode yesterday about D23 and all the news that came out about Star Wars and the trailer, the little teaser trailer with Dark Ray. Give it a listen tomorrow. And when you're done, do me a favor, follow that Snowflake Ray, Big Head Ray, on his social media outlets. It's Big Ray Show at Twitter and Big Ray Show on Instagram because he's very sensitive.
So now is in his bid to be a cool guy, is he going to be Big Dark Ray now?
Well,
because he's a big Star Wars fan, right?
He says he is, but he's never watched
Rogue One.
Never watched it. The only Juan he knows is his cousin Juan. That's about it.
Stevie, can you drop me out of the call and bring me back in? I just think my connection's the shits right now.
Sure.
He's retired. He can't do that no more.
I'm sorry.
How does Stevie, how does my did not get the mesh? All we did was move the router upstairs.
It's good. I mean, it's good. It doesn't.
Are my packets dropping?
Your packets aren't dropping. The water fountain sounds really nice as an ambiance type thing, so that's really good. Here's Ben's back.
Water fountain.
The dog drink.
Oh well, he's not drinking. He's sleeping now. Dogs of snore is asleep.
Tell you one thing, your dog works stiff drinking that water, dude. Holy shit, he was laying them
Like,
in
we
like
don't
those
fucking
chops.
get, bro. I tell you, I'm not even kidding you. He's got 2 bowls of water because he goes through it like that, and there's nothing wrong with him. He has not. We've had everything checked on him. He just drinks water until there's none, and then we have to refill the bowl every day, 6-7 times a day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Park Camel. It's Park Camel.
Park Camel.
Go sit down.
I forgot to scroll back to the chat. There was some good stuff we had the other day too that just kind of. So we do so much in our personal chat that it just goes by so quickly. I mean, Ryback's eating Whoppers. That's just awesome.
Well, it's the Impossible Whopper, right?
Yeah. What do you guys think of that? Is that going to end up being
It's not bad.
Soylent Green? Is people?
What is the Impossible Whopper? What is it?
It's fake meat, but it really has the texture of meat.
Is it that?
So why not just eat meat?
Because some people don't, either they can't tolerate it, pussies, or they don't want to. It's just a thing.
Ooh, yeah.
That makes no
here's the
sense.
thing, though. Here's the thing that people don't realize: what stage of vegetarianism, and if you're a vegan, obviously you're not going to go into Burger King, but what stage or what level of vegetarianism are you in? Because they're not cooked on separate grills. You're essentially getting they're cooking it over like meat on the grill.
That is so. This is a true story. Somebody who has celiac disease, which is like fibromyalgia. It's one of those fake ones.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That they're like, oh, I got celiac disease and I got to be careful what I eat. Oh God. So we go out and then, can you make sure that you cook mine not on the grill with the other stuff? And the guy's like, yeah, okay, no problem. And I fucking watched. I could watch over the thing, and I'm watching him. And he took a wet thing and he wiped the grill, and then he put her shit down, and then he picked it up, and I was like, so just wiping it like that with a wet towel, that'll do it? Okay, fair enough.
No, actually, my daughter has it. So, yeah, it's a true thing, man. If he gets
gluten.
Yeah, well, that's what the celiac is. The cross contamination happens. Oh, it's a pain in the ass, and it's happened to us where we went to a diner and they have a gluten-free menu, and then we went, and this is how we found out about you can't cook it on the same grill, because then she ate it and she started having the pains in her tummy. And I'm like, yo, what happened? I thought you said it was gluten-free. Oh, it is. And then my wife goes, do you guys cook it separately? Oh, no.
And the guy's like, oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, then it's not gluten-free, you lying fucking Greek.
See, that makes me, like, okay, so let me ask you a question. So any of you other 3 gentlemen, back when you were younger, you heard of somebody with a peanut allergy?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, sure. So if they eat peanuts, or if they, somewhere near peanut butter, they get sick, or they might have hives or blow up. Now, this is a true thing. Somebody was in an air show, and the guy was roasting peanuts across the fucking fairway, and this little girl had a fucking reaction and blew up.
That's crazy, dude. Wow.
Do you not think there's something wrong with immune systems now?
Yeah. Well, it's all because of the GMO and what they put in the food, man.
Like, just to catch a breeze of something and you fucking blow up like you're gonna die. And the only thing she's allergic to is peanuts.
Oh, look what's going on. People don't go to the supermarket anymore to buy food. They buy food-like products. All the pre-processed and all the packaged stuff that's in the boxes, and it's man-made. I mean, look, I'm gonna buy me an apple. Oh, let me read the ingredients, and there's 35 fucking different ingredients for an apple. No, it's an apple. What's in an apple? An apple. What's in peanuts? Peanut. What's in peanut butter? Should be peanut. Peanuts, salt, maybe some oil to keep it from hardening, and that's it. Oh, they got this hydrogenated oil nonsense, and other things have this over here and that over there, just to keep it fresh and preserved so they can get a bigger bottom line. It's ridiculous. That Monsanto thing, man, they really should be brought up on charges.
Hey, don't talk about my future sponsor like that. Speaking of apples, Steve Jobs lookalike photo boots up new Apple conspiracy theories. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs died in 2011 at age 56, 8 years after being doused After being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, however, we also saw in the Stooge report of what was the file dump in November, where we saw he died of AIDS.
WikiLeaks, no?
Was it a Assange dump?
Yeah,
No,
I think it was.
Was it Assange? It was no, it wasn't Assange. Wasn't it the guy who was holding hostage, the lawyer company that was holding hostage the 9/11 documents, and he had the information or something like that? Wasn't that the same thing?
I can't remember now. It's all. I mean, that we still didn't even get through nearly those documents.
I'll bring it up.
But you know that we saw the photocopied originals of the certificate saying HIV. Yeah, WikiLeaks. So even here they're putting over the pancreatic cancer still. But a recent photo of Jobs look-alike, apparently taken in Egypt, started fans buzzing. The photo was shared on the weekend on Reddit by numerous users. The earliest use of the image this person could find was on Saturday when the Facebook user Ahmed Besayun shared it there.
That guy?
Union, I don't know what it was, didn't immediately respond to questions about whether it was the original photographer. But even at the Sun puts up the picture. Dude, I mean, you want to talk about conspiracy theory of does that look like Jobs or not? And that's just because my camera's shitty. I mean, the mannerisms, the look.
That's him.
Thing, it's crazy, dude. I mean, the picture is far better. Here, let me see if I can bring it up.
I'm going to bring it up.
Okay. But we're talking Chappelle earlier, 2%. I'll give that a 2% possible right there, man. It was pretty hard. So no question, the image looks a lot like the late computer mogul. He's even barefoot, as Jobs often was. But just in case anyone was tempted to jump on the conspiracy bandwagon claiming Steve Jobs is alive just like Elvis, check the man's wrist. OMG, Steve Jobs doesn't wear an Apple Watch, says one Reddit user. Fuck off. Social media was all about sharing the lookalikes photo. One Twitter user captioned the photo of the real billionaire as Steve Jobs and marked the photo of a barefoot lookalike Steve No Job. And of course, you know, the continues on the Twitter war. I'm not going to read all these Mark's posts where they try and just make it a cute fucking story when, dude, that's pretty close. Not to say that every bald guy with a beard doesn't have some similarity look, as I took pictures with a triple hameen last week. Fucked around and got a triple double. You know, when I was at the Woodsman's. When I was at the Woodsman's with guys that look just like me. So it is highly possible and probable, but that is pretty goddamn close. If you wanted to march out the ghost of Steve Jobs at the next fucking Apple seminar.
Zombie Steve Jobs. With Zombie Bush.
Yeah. Or even do holograms with that guy. Like, Steve Jobs recorded these for you before he died, but it's really this guy doing the Wizard of Oz bit, right?
That would be fucking hysterical.
What about the guys that worked with him and all the people throughout the years that he was such a fucking cocksucker to, that were so happy that he was dead, and then they see a picture of him still alive? Like, this motherfucker. Because
they just get odd every fucking time.
Dude. He was not a fucking good dude. You know,
you guys.
What's that?
I was going to say something, but go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
No, just somebody with the excuse to treat people like shit because, like, I demand, like, perfection out of everybody because I demand perfection out of myself. It's like, dude, fuck you. You never invented anything. You never did it. You never did any of the work. All the engineers, all the people, even Johnny Ive would be more directly responsible for Apple products than Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs just manipulated people.
Shit.
He was a Paul. He was a Paulie. That's all he was. He was a Paul Heyman. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, there it is. Nice.
I'm just going to stay here the rest of the time.
That's like the first failed clone of like Dave Chappelle.
Do you guys know?
There's a Schwarzenegger clone of that somewhere.
Do you know how the cancer cells stop being unemployed?
No.
They got jobs.
Bam. Bam.
Oh shit! I just lost it. The other one is as we move into it, and here it is, laying the groundwork. We talked about this a year ago. Silicon Valley is building a Chinese-style social credit system. In China, scoring citizens' behavior is officially in government policy. U.S. companies are increasingly doing something similar outside the law. I did pop for this because it's from Fast Company, and the author is Mike Elgin. So I don't know any relation, but maybe it is Mike Elgin, who is now a tech blogger. Have you heard about the Chinese social credit system? Well, sure you have. It's a technology-enabled surveillance system based nationwide programming designed to nudge citizens toward better behavior. The ultimate goal is to, quote, allow the trustworthy to roam everywhere under heaven while making it hard for the discredited to take even a single step, end quote, according to the Chinese government. In place since 2014, the social credit system is in work in progress that could evolve by next year into a single nationwide point system for all Chinese citizens akin to the financial credit score. It aims to punish for transgressions that can include memberships in or support for the Falun Gong and Tibetan Buddhism, failure to pay debts, excessive video gaming, criticizing the government, late payments, failing to sweep the sidewalk in front of your house or store, smoking or playing loud music on trains, jaywalking, and other actions deemed illegal or unacceptable by the Chinese government. It can also award points for charitable donations or even taking one's own parents to the doctor. Punishments can be harsh, including bans on leaving the country, using public transportation, checking into hotels, hiring for visibility jobs, or acceptance of children into private schools. What's that?
Do you get extra points for drowning female kids, or
possibly if you got to get the high score? It can also result get the wells going. I mean, this
bonus points for killing your female children.
Yep, Chinese wells.
Where?
Chinese credit system has been characterized in one pithy tweet as authoritarianism gamified. But it looks like, as they blast it, it looks like companies who would like to remain anonymous, insurance companies, and social media companies, including Patron Scan, are selling products for the kiosk, desktop, and handheld systems to help designers of bars and restaurant owners manage customers. We've seen this in Applebee's already, right? Like, you don't even need to have anybody come to your table and that type of shit. So more behavior control as it just becomes part of our daily life with Patron Scan. And, will you get more discounts? Where else are we seeing this? On the highways in New York State right now. They're forcing people to get
Easy Pass.
Easy Pass.
And
it's in Pennsylvania too.
Yeah, and to go into New York City. So really what you're talking about is not just cryptocurrency or whatever invisible currency and credit system, but also tracking where you get on and off of the highway every step of the way without having to do it on cameras and facial recognition and just a point scan system.
With an incentive to do so.
Yeah, and then that just plays into analytic data, which is travel patterns, to be able to place the right products, the right messages, the right stores where you will shop the most to use you further like rats in the trap. So it's a total control system with incentivized, carrots and sticks, and they're not even trying to fake that they're putting it in here to be like, oh, well, now you don't have to pay that person $15 because we've got this Portiscan system. But meanwhile, that's tied to your cards, tied to every analytic data that's about you and what you've bought before, and even how the message should be crafted so it's presented to you to have even more sales, which is right into the Cambridge Analytica conversation that we had, guys, a couple weeks back.
Oh, man.
I'm just reading Scott Summers in the room says China encourages children to report their parents to the government if their parents are Christian, telling kids that their parents are in a cult.
Well, that's right.
Who does that sound like?
1984, George Orwell with the lady down the hall's kids who were, going to tell them shit.
Didn't the Germans do that shit too?
Well, that's exactly what it is. That's what it was, the Nazi youth, the Hitler youth to do that. That's why Orwell wrote that in there. It's Mrs. Parsons' kids, I believe, is whose kids it was down the hall in the book.
It's Bebe's kids.
Oh, damn Bebe's kids.
Yeah, so Lone Wolf GAM says, just like 1984, who could ask for anything more? Shout out Eric Blair. Yeah, man, this is crazy because I just watched a new documentary on Netflix too. I think it's called American Factory, about the Fuyao Glass Company in Ohio, where the chairman, who's just like a Mao-looking type figure, billionaire, and brings his Fuyao glass for cars, automotive industry, and hires these American workers who were laid off as GM workers, so skilled American industry laborers. And they're living the American life, 40 hours a week. I get my breaks. I'm union. I'm used to this. Fuyao workers that they bring over are not used to that. And you get to see the difference in culture when they go to China, because the American workers are fat, lazy, don't care about, that this is their main thing. They care about their kids' basketball game, their quality of life. The Fuyao workers go home once or twice a year in China to see their kids. They don't go home every night. They all live in an apartment 5-6 deep in China. And when they're on the job, they're working 12 hours a day. And they show them there where they line them up. It's very culty. It's very military. They have their all count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They count the whole team. They all have a little song they do. And then they try to do that with the American workers, like, hey, guys, line up. They can't even get them to line up on the line. And they're like, good meeting, everybody. All right, have a good day. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck off. So you see the difference in culture. And then when the Chinese are working, they put almost a orchestral ballet underneath it, where they're snapping the glass and checking it. And the way they move is all almost like a ballet, and how they get the production up. What do they end up doing? Fuyao
they play the Baby Elephant song for the Americans.
Yeah. In Fuyao America, the Chinese are walking around going, next week we're getting rid of all 4 of those workers because they wanted to unionize and they're too slow. We're going to replace that with machine to get that done, because that's where we're lacking in production. It totally shows the difference in cultures of, I am a Chinese communist worker. This is how I define myself, as opposed to I raised kids, had a family, got through, tried to break through whatever class system. It's a very interesting doc, dude.
The moral of the story is when you start your escort business, you always get the Russian and the Chinese ones, because they appreciate when you bring them over here.
Yeah.
They don't know any fucking better. You say you keep on the fucking stroll. You guys keep working 14, 15 hours a day. You have 3 hours to yourself. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great. Terrific. And that's why you get your money back immediately.
Could you imagine GDP, like you're away foreclosing on mortgages on old people, and you get to go home twice a year for like 3 days to see your kids? Like, that's it? Like, that's your quality of life?
That's GDP's moving over to China.
Schedule,
What's that?
That's the WWE schedule right there.
Yeah.
2 things. Is the song in the documentary that they stated they came up in the Chinese place? Is it fa ra 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 ra?
Yes, that's exactly.
That's why I was popping and laughing. In my mind. Second thing, is the second part of this documentary, or the document, what's it called again? American Made?
It's called American Factory.
Okay. Is this American Factory 2, is it going to be done in Stevie's basement with the Chinese workers down there making the bands?
Atlanta Factory.
Well, it is interesting because they have people on the Chinese side that come over to run the lines, who are the expert there, and you see them get so frustrated with just the American lifestyle. They can't understand. He actually, one of the Chinese managers talks about enslaving the Americans to make them, like, they won't let them out to make them work because they're so
Don't
lazy.
say it, Steve. You'll go scrub the show. It'll never make me back on Netflix again.
We don't have speakers in the basement, so
it starts out.
Can hear this. This is how fucking mutiny starts. We don't need let's go to Patton.
So very interesting of where we're going to go with our culture, as we just talk about, quickly, is Trump says no to China and tariffs, and they're doing whatever with the money to do it. There's a lot more. And I think that documentary shows, like, in the beginning, it's like, can these two cultures mesh? Of course they can. We can come together. In the end, it's like, Chinese don't give a fuck about quality of life. Chinese, like, Americans are fucking lazy as shit and don't give a shit about what they make. It's oil and water, and there's no, like, bond really at the end. It's just like, we fucking tried it, and you can't spell Fuyao without FU.
Ha!
Yeah, that's one of the guys.
Yala.
Yeah.
So, you see, okay, again, everybody said, okay, they're going to go, oh, Americans are lazy, and these people are real workers. That's like saying, oh, look at that. You see that chimpanzee over there? He's a hard worker. No, he just doesn't know there's a such fucking thing as cable. He doesn't know there's a such thing as, like, go home and see your family for the week.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because these Chinese that come over there, like, there is some good stuff where, like, you know, Big Tommy takes him out to his ranch, and the Chinese have never touched a gun, and they're shooting pistols, and they're touching off fireworks, whatever the fuck.
Right, and he throws them a couple hot dogs and a hamburger, and they're like, wow, this is fucking a week's worth, you know? And
lobster craws.
It's all
they don't know any better, and I'm not belittling them. I'm saying it's the way they were brought up. Okay, just back in the day when we found out, when we were kids in PS 138, Papa Don, when we found out Chinese kids went to school like 348 days a year, and we were like, oh my God, that's like hell over there. Yeah. We didn't know any better. And now, you know, now it's like, oh, Americans are stupid and slow and lazy. Yeah, I guess, but they've been doing this this is their culture. They've been doing this for fucking ever. They also whip kids and beat people. So you want to do that here? Sure, let's get that over here. But no, everybody cries about it. Go, oh, my rights. So you can't even do it. You can't force your kid to be smarter, because she'll cry about it and say, oh, you're not giving my kid fucking knock-up time so his brain can develop like a real kid. You're keeping him in school. You're teaching him too much. Oh, you're not teaching him the right thing. So go fuck yourselves. They don't even know what they want. They want to call it, oh, well, Americans are lazy and this and that. Right, because you would never allow your child to be put into that sort of position. To say, I'm going to better them.
Look at Stevie.
I'm just putting my feet up. I'm going to do a little, like you guys.
He's like, don't talk about my workers like that.
We don't need a revolution. You know what? Shut the fuck up.
I am back here. This is the way I'm going to do the shows from now on. Just really relaxed and talking. And I'm just going to look this way. I'm not even going to look at the camera.
She's rubbing your feet, isn't she?
What's that? Lu Chen? No. She's downstairs.
He's getting a pedicure.
My wife is just like, do people still think I'm Asian? I go, you can show them pictures all day long. It don't even matter at this point.
I think that's only going to help the microblading if people are like thinking, oh, did you go to the Asian girl? Yeah, but she wasn't there. There was this other pretty girl there. I guess the Asians own it, but they hired her. It's good.
They hired a face.
I told her to add a lot of R's and L's in the sign title, but she wouldn't do it.
I like to gig a midget.
I have a frush. What the fuck's a frush?
What the fuck's a frush?
Yeah,
I like to micro braid.
We got Lean and Stevie Richards, Dr. Casual. Both good ones out of the chat there.
Oh, now he's just showing his thighs off. He definitely wants some chainsaw fucking time.
This is actually fun. I might do it from now on like this. I might just sit back.
Stevie. I sent him the ball package. Stevie, hopefully he'll do his promo, and I'd like to see 20% off of Stevie.
I hope he reviews my Switch.
Yeah.
What happened?
I want to do that thing I like, Stevie. Do that thing I like, Stevie. Yeah. You call me Chainsaw. Wait till you see my head's trimmer.
George Patton assassinated by the OSS.
How does this happen? There's two. I can't fucking relax. I got to work.
Oh, Greenie, you don't know how to work. Relax. You're tired. Oh, God.
All right. So as we switch it up to our main topics, as we're having fun here tonight.
Wait, we have a topic.
Brothers in Black. Actually, there was one more I wanted to get Sal's reaction on. Rumors from the rumor mill wrestling-wise that they may turn Luke Gallows back into a good old Festus. Twink. I knew you'd pop for it, Sal, because we were there during the prime Festus days.
Yes.
And it was the Raw and Uncut. I remember one time when he did the Jim Carrey Dumb and Dumber spot with the ketchup and mustard on Twink's suit. Like, just at the house show, dude, he just went crazy and like, oh, he got me with the mustard. Suits ruined and shit as they rib him for being green. And like now, isn't that a full rib when you think you're going to be the next Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, and you're going back to Pavlovian ring the bell retard possibly?
It took me so long to figure out that it was a work.
Oh man. That was just like precious to me, dude. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's some good shit.
Stevie,
do you think it's going to happen or no?
No. I think Stevie and I talked about last night. They'd be better off doing southpaw wrestling. Come out and do comedy and be ribs of like that, because Hall and Nash could get away with that. I think they could do it that way, and still be themselves, you know, and just switch it up for a minute and then come back and be ass kickers again. No, anybody? Nothing else on
Nothing else,
They don't want Gallows heat. Nobody wants heat with Gallows.
Jesus Christ!
I like Gallows. I have no problems with him. But I was just waiting because you said you and Stevie, and then Stevie's not saying anything.
Promotion anymore, so you can say what you're.
Doesn't matter.
No,
you're retired. You have nothing
to say. George Patton assassinated by the OSS.
Spy kids?
Yeah. General George Patton was assassinated to silence his criticism of Allied war leaders, claims new book. We've got a terrible situation with this great patriot. He's out of control, and we must save him from himself. The OSS head general did not trust Patton. So for those who don't know, before the CIA was CIA, coming out of World War II, it was the OSS. And, you know, it sounds a little SS, Nazi itself, and that's probably not by mistake. But for those who don't know, General George Patton, famous World War II general, that many said could have ended the war earlier, and it actually went on longer as he was held back as, you know, one of the major pit bulls. His whole strategy was move into position, hit him in the fucking nuts as hard as you can, and it don't care if you got 2 shells in your fucking gun, you're charging the machine gun nest. And just with kind of savagery and him fucking, where guys would be pussies on the line, like, we can't push the line anymore. He's like, fuck you, you can't. And he'd roll up to the front line in his Jeep and kick guys in the ass to fucking flush Nazis out of the bush. So, like, some legendary shit. I'm sure some exaggerated, some not.
Yeah.
Like, he got heat because he went to, you know, hospitals where guys were wounded, and then he'd see guys who, like, weren't that fucked up, who might have just got shot, and he went up and straight up Jim Cornette on Santino'd them and fucking was slapping them while they're in the hospital bed, probably PTSD shocked, tell them get the fuck back out there. And, you know, even Russian soldiers heard about that and would laugh because they like, if we were fucked up and we were still able to fight, they just shoot us if we were trying to go back to the hospital bed. So, for those who don't know, just a quick lesson on Patton. And even when we were growing up, there was of him in all those Looney Tunes like things, right? Like when we would see like old school with Mussolini or any Tojo, like
they would
like Patton
bust
was
their balls nonstop.
Yeah.
All the access were total fodder, and there was no racism to see the fucking giant buck-toothed Tojo with the dopey hair. You know what I mean? Like, you see Hitler, and if you had the little mustache and the mohair, that was it. All the cartoons did it because they were all selling war bonds outside, you know, and they would do all that, and that pushed all that stuff. And then for the Allied was always Patton.
Yeah.
You know, or Churchill. Anybody who had, you know, the catchphrase. Anybody who had a catchphrase that kids could automatically know who the fuck that is. And kids back then knew. They knew who all those people were.
Yep. And we didn't have, like, we had, Storm and Norman Schwarzkopf, maybe in the Gulf War. But in Vietnam, they didn't really make anybody like that, like, to try and be the American.
Now, Vietnam is when they tore that shit down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when they destroyed all the war hero shit. And they were like, no, war fuck heroes. No heroes come from war, you know, all hippie shit.
Please, as Ventura. No heroes come from war, hippie shit.
Right.
Come on.
So, what?
I just wanted to hear Jesse right there for a minute.
I'm sorry. I did sorry.
The death of General Patton in December 1945 is one of the most enduring mysteries of the war era. Although he had suffered some serious injuries in a car crash in Mannheim, he was thought to be recovering and was on the verge of flying home. But after a decade-long investigation, military historian Robert Wilcox claimed that the OSS head general, Wild Bill Donovan, ordered a highly decorated marksman called Douglas Bazata to silence Patton when the gloried Lord and named Old Blood and Guts. So that was Patton's, making his way to the ring. Old Blood and Guts. His book, Target Patton, contains interviews with Mr. Bozzato, who died in 1999, party too hard, and extracts from his diary detailing how he staged the car crash by getting a troop truck to plow into Patton's Cadillac and then shot the general with a low-velocity projectile, which broke his neck while his fellow passengers escaped without a scratch. Mr. Bozzato also suggested that when Patton began to recover from his injuries, U.S. officials turned a blind eye as agents of the NKVD, which is the forerunner of the KGB, poisoned the general in his hospital bed. Mr. Wilcox told the Sunday Telegraph that when he spoke to Mr. Bozzato, he said, quote, he was struggling with himself, all these killings he had done. He confessed to me that he had caused the accident and that he was ordered to do so by Wild Bill Donovan. Donovan told him, quote, we've got a terrible situation with this great patriot. He's out of control. We must save him from himself and from ruining everything the Allies have done. End quote. I believe Douglas Bozzato, he's a sterling guy. Mr. Bozzato, well, you're such a sterling guy that you fucking took a deuce and a half and smashed the guy's car, shot him in the neck, and paralyzed him. Then it goes into this thing about the Mr. Bozzato being a member of the Jedburghs, an elite unit who parachuted into France to help organize the resistance to the run-in up to D-Day in 1944. He earned 4 Purple Hearts, a Distinguished Service Cross, a French Cross de Guerre 3 times for his efforts. He became celebrated artist who enjoyed the patronage of Princess Grace of Monaco and the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. He was also a friend of Salvador Dali, who painted Bozzato as Don Quixote. So this is, and he ended his career as aide to President Reagan's naval secretary, John Lehman, a member of the 9/11 Commission, and an advisor to John McCain's presidential campaign. Dude, pretty interesting, like, sidebar here. And this came off of, I had never heard of this, of how Patton even went out. There was a car accident. But, as it goes on, I just want to skip to another story where supposedly Bozzato gave this testimony at a place where, a conference he was speaking at. Shit, I might have lost it. No, there it is. He says, quote, it seems they even killed General Patton. He says, until recently, it was very speculated that Patton had been assassinated. This is from Bozzato himself. Now it's known for a fact, and I know it for a very simple reason. Because an agent of a very well-known OSS Office of Strategic Services or American military spy, a certain Douglas Bozzato, a Jew, this is from the other dude, a Jew of Lebanese origin, announced it in front of 450 hotel guests. He said, sorry, this is very small print. I know who killed him because I'm the one who was hired to do it. $10,000. General William Donovan himself, director of the OSS, entrusted me with the mission. I set up the accident. Since he didn't die in the accident, he was kept in isolation in the hospital where he was killed with an injection. So they wanted to off him from an inside job CIA-wise, and then supposedly the KGB slipped him in the IV, and he went out that way. He was up and talking to nurses the day before, paralyzed. But
imagine that shit. You hit this dude with a troop transport truck and you flip his fucking car, you shoot him in the neck, the guy breaks his neck, he's twitching, and he's just like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
They take him to the hospital.
He parachuted into fucking France, 3 Purple Hearts, right?
So they didn't pay this fucking clown, did they? Because he didn't finish it.
They must have, because he stayed over, right? He got all the way up to John McCain status, which means he probably was part of McCain during Vietnam, bringing him back. Like, this guy's a major CIA spook who made it to 1999 and whacked him out. Now, why did they want to do that? Supposedly Patton was going to stooge on, war profiteers or guys like that, and that he was going to kind of start the Cold War 30 years before it needed to be started and go in on Russia and how we colluded with them. And if you watch Band of Brothers, that's a big part of it at the end when we want to get there and get to Hitler before the Russians do and break through. So he's trying to kind of fuck up the ally, stuff right out of the gate to get into this war where I'm sure he's seen some backstage shitty deals that went down and he wasn't happy about it. But Stevie, I wanted to get your opinion. Is that ties into Eisenhower and him possibly being behind it and people saying Eisenhower never would have been president if Patton would have survived?
Yeah, that was definitely an age and a time where Patton was going to be president if he kept going on the role he was going. So he challenged, and Eisenhower was a general before him. So there was a time throughout an era there in the country where they were the strongest leaders, the generals, the ones that fought the wars. Yeah, I see, but didn't Eisenhower talk about the military-industrial complex?
Sure. So he goes out. GGP, you want to go ahead there, man? I see you shaking your head. I don't want to take all the airtime.
No, man. I'm agreeing with Steven over there about the industrial. As Eisenhower was bouncing out of the spot, he stooged off the industrial military complex, and he was the one. I was just agreeing with him.
Yeah, and the bankers too. He kind of buries a bit there too, and outside that, he even talks about. In the shadows. So he's talking about secret societies of elites that were there in the 1900s, 1920s. He's talking about all that. And the journalism, I'm sure, that was going down at that time. A huge influence that way in starting wars, as we've covered that. So we looked at that Eisenhower shoot before, but after learning about this Patton stuff, I look at it differently. I feel like, I don't know. This Bozada guy, obviously, is a way inside agent, Sal, and playing and doing things for other generals who are hiring him to hit. And he's a tried and true fucking grizzled badass from World War II who's setting up resistance guerrilla fighters parachuting in for D-Day, gets shot or whatever 4 fucking times. Who knows how many people's throats he cuts, and he's doing hit and runs for the CIA before it's the CIA, so. And then stooging it off that he did it before it's a deathbed confession, man. Pretty hardcore. Do I look at Patton a different way here, or do I look at Eisenhower a different way here in that stooge? I don't know. Because Patton may have been the military-industrial complex voice that Eisenhower's talking about, where they're going like, fuck that, we got to fuck the Russians up next. Patton, we got to go for them. You could be president off that, and got them all gassed up on it.
But now, here's the thing: is Patton still coming out to be the super babyface in this? And you're hearing this from the people who tried to kill him.
But the Patriots got to go because he's his own worst enemy because he's breaking kayfabe.
Well, right. That's what I mean. Like, so if let's have everybody look at this in real life terms now. Well, in real life and wrestling terms now. Does anybody care about kayfabe anymore? So in their minds, Patton's still the fucking good guy. He was trying to smarten us all up. He was trying to make us all aware because he felt there should be transparency, which they were like, no, it's not happening. Fucking 86, this guy. So again, Patton's coming out kind of smelling pretty good on this. He's not, he's the industrial, he's the icon of what they wanted to do.
Does he? Does he come out smelling good? Because my point in this, and I'm not trying to go to bat for it.
No.
After I read this, I was like, he wanted to go right out. Like, so you got a dog that's off the leash. They know, like, here's our weapon. This guy will fucking run right into howitzers, whatever the fuck. He's like, let this crazy cocksucker go. He'll win it for you. But when it's time to leash him up to do diplomacy and quiet things down, you can't get that rabid dog to shut the fuck up and do that. He sees an opportunity where Russia is shady as fuck and he doesn't trust them. And all that dude knows is the on switch of let's fuck somebody up. And here, I got the budget to do it, and we can kick their fucking ass right now too, because they're shady and we got to defeat communism everywhere we are. I could see that being the message, and dude's going, all right, bro, let's take a step back and let's chill for a minute. We're going to do something else. He's like, no, fuck that. This is what we're doing. Like, okay.
Basically one of us four.
Yeah. Couldn't you see it kind of going that way? And like, bro, we love this guy. He won it for us, but we got to chill because we're going to go right into another major war, and that could kill our country. Or can we go into a Cold War for 30 years and come out on top? I think that's the scenario. where, fuck, he's just too wild. You got to put this pony down. You cannot tame him.
I think they had that contingency plan right from the very beginning. They have to know and be smart enough to see that, like, we have this guy going this far and he does this job extremely well. Or even if he was whatever he was going to be and he was going to play ball, they were always going to have that plan B on how to get rid of him. They had that when JFK went in, I'm sure. They had that with every sitting president, every person that's within their circle. It's like the mafia. We have to figure out a way to get rid of this person if we need to.
Well, I just got to go to the chat room quick because Bill Nerf's in there, and I'm not trying to step on you, but I got to kind of counterpoint. He says, generals aren't the bad guys Eisenhower was talking about. And I understand what you're saying with the military-industrial complex for people who were making tanks, whether it was whatever DARPA or whatever it was at the time got rebranded.
It was their version of what Halliburton was. It might have been Halliburton. Who knows? Yeah,
it was, and it was just rebranded 16 Bradley or whatever the Bradley fighting tank was at the time, right?
60.
Yes, people are asking if that's Troy with the bits in the chat room. Is that the Troy? Oh, if it is, we'll see. But appreciate the bits here. Here's something though that I'll go against that, Bill. Is that because we've seen it with General Wesley Clark when he went back after he was retired, and they're pulling him into meetings saying, General, have you seen this after 9/11? Oh, we're going to Afghanistan. Oh yeah, we're going there, but we're going to these 7 other countries. So the sacred cows are always working. If you watch, I don't want to use a movie as a point of history reference, but JFK, and they talk about the sacred cows of the generals and how they were maneuvering and how JFK had to push all of them out too. So sure, the military-industrial complex is a profit system and war profiteers are there, but that's exactly how they operate, by whining and dining those generals, getting them all the whores they want, giving them kickbacks, saying all this shit. And that's been going on probably since post-World I industrial era. And here we are with Patton maybe being the guy that was ready to fucking go knuckle up again, because that's all he knows is war. And Eisenhower was worried about his end and his run for presidency. Some might say the same thing about LBJ post JFK. So I got to disagree with the point that the generals are definitely in play when it comes to the military industrial complexes, like the bishops, the knights, and the rooks on the chessboard.
I agree with you. I got nothing to add to it.
Okay, I feel like I'm not facilitating conversation here.
No, I'm because here's the thing. Like again, this is one of those things, and I know it sounds like a cop out, but like this is one of those things that I'm okay with. Like, it sucks that it happened, and this guy on his deathbed came out and said this shit. There's nobody to refute him. There's nobody to back him up. There's nobody to fucking call him out.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things. It's like, I'm okay with it because you know what? Again, like I said, this makes Patton kind of look like the fucking superhero that they put him over as.
Well, here's the booking meeting that I see, and correct me if I'm wrong, GGP or Stevie or Sal. So they had the booking meeting to take him out with the deuce and a half, and the stretch of road. Bill O'Reilly wrote a book on it, Killing Patton. He's got a whole killing series, Reagan and JFK and da-da-da. But the stretch of road wasn't even where you'd supposedly be able to T-bone a guy. You have to actually be there in a trap to do it. And then the passenger said they saw a dude get out and it wasn't a gun. So it seemed like that CIA pen, you know what I mean? The quick do something, inject to you, and they saw metal something fly out and go into him. And that wasn't enough to get the job done. So there's your MyHop event. Then supposedly the KGB or NVKD or whatever it was takes him out with, slipping him the poison, which is a lie hop event. Let it happen on purpose. But you think that back channeling of Eisenhower talking to whoever it was from the end of the war of we fucked up. It'll look better if you guys do it now, and we can just pass the heat on there, and we'll all walk away from this with a little dirt on us, and we'll cover it up. There was no mass media at the time. They could make the story whatever the fuck they wanted because it was radio, so
yeah,
and newspapers. So that's an interesting part of both events, of making it happen on purpose with a direct hit. But then passing the heat and letting them get their shit on it too to kind of end the Cold War.
Don't forget about the other two generals. You talk about Admiral and a general. You're talking about Admiral Byrd. You talk about, I think it was General and not Admiral Forstall. Remember Forstall with, was it connected to Project Blue Book, I believe, or that was the alien stuff. And all of a sudden this guy that basically said, once again, I am not suicidal, I'm of sound mind, is in the loony bin and then throws himself out a window. And Admiral Byrd's death, we didn't talk about that. That's the guy who talks about Antarctica. You can say it if you want. Go ahead. Antarctica, the ice wall, seeing a landmass bigger than the United States with resources. This back in the 40s,
he was
right
Indiana
around that
Jones.
time with Patton, right around when Patton got killed. I think that was 43 or 44 that he was, because we were still fighting the Nazis. So this was during World War II that he was taking these trips to Antarctica. So, I mean, this is like boom, 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 like from the 40s and then into the 60s.
Bang,
Killing
bang,
generals and admirals.
Yeah, like
Bang, bang. Sorry.
Yeah, like what happened 1939 to 1948? Just so I mean, obviously the war, but the crazy mysticism, like the alien stuff, everything intertwined, man. And then to move out into the secret spy era of developing all of these KGB, CIA. I mean, FBI was there before that, but man, it just something, the way it shaped us all up in that 8 years for the next 70, 80 years of espionage, classification, and contact with aliens to fucking, nationalism and whatever other ism you want to fucking spread.
Like, okay, but now at this point, you're talking about that in that time, that was like a huge rise in science fiction movies.
Yeah.
People, and don't get me wrong, people had Flash Gordon and all that shit beforehand, but this was the age of science fiction, where in the movies, that's where people went to escape all of this shit. And then you get thrown in with, here's our newsreel. They would show this during kids shows. They would show wartime newsreels, and they would give you all the updates on Patton and everybody else involved with the war and how we're fucking kicking ass and taking names. Buy war bonds, because here's your cartoon now with us kicking Hitler's ass and Tojo's ass, Mussolini's ass, everybody's asshole was getting kicked in, and there's Bugs Bunny to show us. So you had that going on. Then you had the big push of all the atomic weapons and the atomic shit coming down. Like the sci-fi era got huge in that, the time period you're talking is when this started to ramp up. And by the time you hit the 50s, now the big fear was the atomic monsters and nuclear. And then it all just kept going up. And once that sci-fi, it was all innocent, and everybody, back in the 50s when everything was innocent, it all hit that pitch. And then we were worried about a nuclear war, but democracy would protect us. Yeah. And nobody was really afraid because we could duck and cover. Everything was cool. And then once you hit the 60s, and then it turned into, no, this is a real fucking threat. Everybody panic and freak out. Like that veneer of whitewashing kind of just got wiped off. And then everything, all those threats that nobody was really considering a threat became real. Because think about that, back in the 50s, the crazy neighbor who bought that bunker, there's a good chance he was going to end up on a newsreel at the next movie because this guy bought a bunker because he's going to be safe and he's supporting democracy. That sort of shit. You know what I mean? And then all that ha-ha stuff went away in the 60s. It all became a real scary threat. And then you start talking about the government with fucking the Manchurian candidates and then by the 70s, all that stuff going, So it all downslided after that. It all ramped up. Hey guys, check this out. This is sci-fi. This is funny. Look, giant bugs and shit. And oh wow, cool. Oh, nuclear bombs. Oh, we can just duck under a fucking table. We're fine. Now and then it hit that point where now everything was real and scary. In the end of the 50s, start of the 60s. And then they started passing heat over to the hippies and communists. And,
Sure, yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
That's with race. Same thing we're going through now.
But you didn't really have that back. Well, you did have that. They were, I'm not saying they didn't deserve the heat, but they were the Nazis and the commies and the Kaiser and all those guys had our fucking attention as the villains. They were the clear-cut villains. End of story. It wasn't until the 60s and 70s where the villains were now in our borders. They were in our United States. They were our daughters and our sons and, some of the teachers who were subversive. And so all that shit became way more real. It's going from a 4-color comic book to a fucking a Miller graphic novel. You go from this, we have superheroes who will protect us to, oh, fuck, we can't protect anybody. We can't protect ourselves because they're all here. All the bad guys are right here.
Don't forget we brought them here.
Well,
everybody over. Oh, you're the bad guy, and you guys have killed so many people. You guys are pure evil. Well, wait a minute.
Show us how to do that?
No, wait. No. It was you guys killed so many people. You guys did all this stuff. You guys are pieces of what? Wait. You can make rockets? Oh shit! You didn't say that.
Yes.
I mean, that's what happened, really. Like, oh yeah. I mean, they're bad, but I mean, we can get some. What's that?
My grandfather was a master sergeant. I always pop for Eisenhower because he looks a lot like Eisenhower. And he was the stenographer at the Nuremberg trials where all the guys who didn't know how to build rockets
they got fucking hung.
They were getting fucking roped or they were getting shot. And Grandpa was, and this old fucker, he's screwed here. Yep. Like he typed it out. He actually donated all that stuff to the Holocaust Museum. I was doing a project junior year of high school, and I was going through their one of their 4 attics, and I found all the shit my grandfather that was all non-redacted, all the dude's sentences. This guy was hung on this fucking date for this crime, war crime at Dock
Last words 9/9.
Yeah.
They're going down the line of this guy was hung, this guy firing squad, this guy runs NASA, this guy got shot. This guy
they show the Animal House, Where Are They Now? Was killed by his own troops.
It was crazy.
Was killed by a giant tank. Now runs NASA.
The scary part about all this is what we're saying right now. It's coming to the point now where you can't even talk about this kind of history because somebody will get offended.
My grandfather died.
No, I mean, it's just that's the
thing.
You guys said something and you joked about them running NASA. I can't believe you joked about people dying. No, I joked about the fact the government turned around because it's so fucking ridiculous.
I have friends who are astronauts.
What's that?
I have friends who are astronauts.
You can't make fun of NASA, you son of a bitch. Oh, I can't stay mad at you.
Just do what I like. Let's bring everybody
back. I can't stay mad at you. Get over here. Let me give you a time.
I love the moon shows.
We have.
I want to see the dark side of your
in the chat room, so it might be time for a little story time to refresh everybody as take a break from higher up generals getting murdered and throwing themselves out of windows. And,
that is
Nazis getting hired to be part of NASA. Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Man, I love all that shit, man. All the it's just like such
NASA need another 7 astronauts.
But you see that hang on. That was that was the Sally Ride joke.
I don't.
That was where that came from. That's funny. Dude. That was the schoolyard joke, dude.
Yeah, after challenge.
Dude.
Yeah, what color were her eyes? Blue. One that way, one that way. Yeah, that shit came out, man.
Never heard it.
Those were the fucking PS 138 schoolyard jokes, dude. And now you say it, and everybody will pop at it. But back in the day, you said that shit like this because it was fucking rough.
Yeah. That was just like, how low can you go? And that's when Dice was on top and all that shit, man, for sure.
Well, that was fucking before Dice, kid.
Well, I mean, yeah.
That was Eddie Murphy Raw period.
We were always ahead of the.
Yeah.
We need to do a show about the Challenger and their twins and all these people that look identical. You guys ever hear about that?
That's a thing.
People, you will get heat if you bring that shit up. There are people who come straight at you on it.
Bring the heat.
Let me say something really. There's one where I remember we were kids. The joke was because they played the tribute all over the Philly news stations, and they played it the Joe Cocker song "Up Where We Belong," and my friend was watching it and goes, Well, obviously it didn't belong there because you fucking exploded, right? Go ahead, Bob. And I know the twin thing is, dude, we didn't even really get into the twin thing. That's fascinating.
Well, let's leave that for another show for another
Moon
time.
landing show.
Yes, the moon landing show. I was going to say, what I wanted to say is this whole thing with the World War II. The guy got sniped. He got taken out. I mean, there's no surprise that our government and our military are dirty. All our politicians, all our generals, all whoever's involved is always for the greater good. Whether the greater good is their pockets or the greater good is for a military contract, they do dirty things to the people that they call brother. You know, very similar to a wrestling locker room. So they can get their shit in and they can get over. But the thing is that World War II, you know, the gimmick is the spot was stolen and bastardized here in the States. Because everything the Nazis did, and they were so technologically advanced compared to us, everything they did after the war, we are doing. So basically, this whole 1984 Orwellian system that you keep, you know, bringing in as an example, you know, the Nazis, they took away their guns, they took away their freedom of speech, everything. They spied on everybody, everything.
That's how they got. That's how they got over in fucking 10 years. They went from in a fucking back barroom indie show to fucking WrestleMania in 10 years, and were running the show.
Yeah.
Also, exactly. Very snappy dresses.
They went from Chris Envy to Vince in 10 years.
Wow, that's like
way to kill the round.
Yeah, right. I didn't know you can get taller.
Jesus, they both got the same work rate, depending on whether it was back then or fucking then. But
no, Vince works hard at putting on the shit show. Chris works hard at popping out kids. So you got like 13.
I just mean in ring work. They both suck.
They can't do Hurricane Ranas either.
Yeah,
Chris Envy was also shot in the neck with a low projectile.
Yeah, the mat.
Real low.
A low impact projectile, the mat.
So let you guys know right here, it came on my Facebook. Here, you can get the Bella's Fathead. Get 15% off site wide.
Wait, 15% off on Bella's giving you a head? That's not a bad deal.
Bella's Fathead, 15% off. Dude, we might have to get the background. So 15% off what? $2?
Where's my $2?
It's up there.
Just for something. I was gonna say, what is it, like $70 just for a guy to fucking JO to constantly? That's all they're gonna do with it.
Can't they just watch like your co-host Twitch channel for that?
Yeah, you know
they're just gonna splat baby batter all over a fucking Bella Fathead.
A buddy of mine just sent me a link that Pornhub is donating planting a tree for every 100 videos watched, and then my friend, you know, says a joke, "Oh, I'm responsible for 8 trees so far," you know. So
I'm going to repopulate the Amazon for it.
Well, I was going to say, there's our other story that people are asking us about. Russo asked us last night, with the Amazon being burned and this bureaucrat kind of standing in the way because he wanted to clear it for industrialization. And he's got a team of arsonists doing it, and they're holding up anybody going in to be able to fight this on a massive scale of a forest fire. It's just unbelievable, man.
And what they wrote it off as what, wildfires?
Yeah, after it was already proved that it was set.
That's all I kept thinking about. Hey, Guida, give my cigarettes. Where'd they go at? Where'd you put them at? Wildfires.
Fire's doing down there. That
is what is responsible for destroying the Amazon wildfires.
Hey kid, where's my churro? Give me a churro.
Hey, give me a churro. Give me a beer. Guida, give my cigarettes.
Guida, that's what he would call him.
That's awesome. We don't get Jesse, but we get fucking Tommy Rich.
I didn't even realize I didn't pick up on the Jesse thing. I've written that out of my repertoire because Stevie shit on me enough. My feelings are hurt.
He shits on you. He fucking
constantly.
And he censors you. He don't put out the episode. And you come back with a smile. You really are his laptop.
I try. I am his goon.
Oh, you're the Wildman Irwin of the fucking crew.
Well, Bill, now we already got one.
Switching it up to the general neutral messaging system, unless anybody's got anything they want to add to Patton. I think it was a very cool email that sent us down like, hey, let me look into this. And like,
I never had any idea about
one
it.
thing,
So
you know what I want to say about World War II around that time period that a lot of people don't really know about. Obviously, Hitler was a bad person, right? Killed a lot of Jews, did a lot of bad things to individuals. But the one thing that he did that a lot of people don't give him credit for, he fought the system. He fought the central banks, the Rothschilds and all that stuff. And he took his country that was in debt, in a matter of years, brought him into surplus, and basically focused on a national plan to make that country and his people a better place. And then he went shit back crazy and started killing all the Jews. But regardless of that, a lot of people don't know about how he brought a country from deficit and being in debt for millions of billions of dollars to a surplus.
And isn't that, you know, just to echo where we are now of just like, and it just slides through the cracks where the official statement of like, yeah, they took out Gaddafi because he didn't want to go on the gold standard came through the newswire last week again, where it's just like, you know, heat on Clinton's, haha, they did it, and that was why, and it's because they're all connected with the banksters, and we can just eliminate heads of state and keep on moving as we label them terrorist enemies when all those people in his country, right, no taxes, cars, homes, free education. Sure, I'm not putting over this guy as a psychopath who didn't do crazy fucking shit, but at the same time, when you don't bow down to the great underlying bankster culture where we fucking bail them out because we're loyal to a brand like Chase or whatever the fuck it is, and we just know that, oh, that's my bank, we need to bail them out. Just ridiculous as they walk off with more and more money instead of being hung, being executed like the Nuremberg trials should have these people executed. We just keep buying into the next fucking scheme all the way around. Speaking of schemes from the Conspiracy Horsemen, at Gmail General Neutral Messaging System, the family from TGY TV, Tim Gilby. Hello, Horsemen. You guys briefly touched on the Netflix series The Family last week. I've got a question for you guys. I'd like to know, Ben and Sal's opinion, being atheists, on the series versus Stevie and GGP's being Christians. I went into it with a notion of what I was going to see and finished it with a different opinion on it. So I would just like to hear the other people's opinions and different sides of the religion coin. Thanks, guys. Y'all sent from a shitty flip phone, taking me over a half hour to type this email because I ditched my smartphone so I didn't keep getting nuked by 5G. Wow. Dedication and good question. I don't know if Stevie and Sal have watched this. I know GGP and I have. But it doesn't really come down to a faith-based thing to me. If you're really going to talk about the religion and culty side of it, of these guys who are like, want to believe they're the disciples of Jesus and recreate the brotherhood of what it means to hang out with 12 guys and be a locker room, that's wrestling to me and what we do, that same camaraderie. If you want to use that to spread the power of good, that's cool. But if I believe Jesus is a dude like the rest of us in a locker room, he's cutting some fucking jokes. They got their inside shit. They got their ribs on the Canaanites or whoever the fuck as well, right? Like they're gonna fucking get their ribs in. He's not all love and this package wrapping. I think the family series does a really good job of that, of saying the religion over there that all those marks are involved in, that's bullshit. We know the real Jesus, and we're gonna dedicate to it. Now, to me, I don't follow any man. I follow a moral code that may be close to what it is, but that's just knowing right from fucking wrong, in my opinion. And anybody who lays himself down for another dude is just being a submissive instead of being a king of their own kingdom. So that's how I look at my life. And I'm not better than anybody else. I think everybody's their own fucking leader and can bring themselves up like that. But when it comes to how they influence leaders and shit like that, or the prayer breakfast, that's just indoctrination into their little shit to say, do my dance so you get my votes and my money globally as we set up these little power structures. And they're tied to pedophiles. They didn't cover any of that shit, did they? So anybody who wants to play one side of the coin, meanwhile you're in the car just like the LGBTQ conversation we had about Chappelle earlier. If you don't get out of that car and be like, I'm my own fucking thing, I got no love for you, homie. So it sticks to me in religion in the same way as it's all a fucking mind fuck. And you can have that same power that this guy's talking about by emulating the mafia, by emulating Hitler and his boys, how they came to power in a small group of dudes who are, you know, subversive and behind the scenes and not out in front right away and can make real change. That's the real takeaway. Nothing to do with the power of Christ. You want to use that and promote positivity, I got no problem with that. But when you indoctrinate to control the masses, you got me. I'm out of the equation.
Yeah, good.
No, since I'm the only other guy who saw the show, it's a big giant scheme. You saw it?
No, I'm just putting my hands up. I'm sorry. I got so much time on my hands these days. I'm being retired.
Being retired.
You should be. You should know this.
Go ahead. You're the only other one who watched it. Let's do it.
Well, no, because Ben started off by saying that him and I are the only two that saw it. So I was just following up on Ben's statements.
Well,
if you were awake during our show,
I
maybe
was awake. I got the GIF. I got the GIF in chat. I woke up.
Oh, you got the GIF from banging those dirty Chinese stores in the basement. That's your problem.
But no, the story's the same. I watched the movie or the show, but the story's the same. Ben said it. What they do is they prey on people that want to be a part of something. It's no different than the locker room, no different than a high school cafeteria, no different than a playground. They just want you to make you feel like you belong. And the prayer breakfast is the biggest work in the world when you have Obama and these other people that aren't even Christian talking like they have to do the dance, like you said, to get the money. That's all it is. You think Trump, my favorite book's the Bible besides my book. I mean, come on, man.
He's the chosen one.
Well, that's the whole part of it, right? That's all you got to say. Walk up to the door, you just fucking killed your wife and you fucking, raped a kid down at Comet Ping Pong Pizza, but Jesus spoke to you in your fucking Uber over here and said, hey, bro, it's okay. You're the chosen one. And they'll go, wow, this guy talked to Christ. He must be fucking over. He's with us. We got to protect him. Really, all that is going to the mob with, Godfather, I need you to do me a favor. And sure, I'll do you this favor, but one day I'm going to ask you to do me a favor when we put you up, John Ensign, for fucking, to be our presidential candidate. And now you're just a fucking puppet for us because we got the real deal of when you choked out that hooker, and did whatever gay shit that you didn't want to come out. We know all about that. But you're still chosen. Jesus loves you. The Jesus we know, he's a wolf. He's not a sheep. He's not worried about all that love and all that other shit. He gets shit done. Like, that's how they justify it to these fucking Washington, D.C. psychopaths who pay them $600 for rent to live in a brownstone that's a $3,000 a month rent thing. And that's your tax dollars and shit going to pay for that stuff.
Do you think if Stevie walked up to the house and says, I am him, I am the chosen one, they'd all come in their pants because he looks like Jesus? Oh, my God, he's here.
I think they may do it. I think there's enough
gimmick,
sexuality in there. Yeah,
$600 rent, Stevie. You'd be saving money, dude. You're living the fat life.
That's what I pay for the studio up in Blue Ridge. I'm fine with that. By the way, if I said it enough times, if I convinced people, if I did my hair the right way, if I wore the right robe, and I just said it constantly over and over, did the Trump thing. You say something 3 times. You just keep saying it. You keep saying it. It's the Jedi mind trick. People will believe it. Because, man, he believes it, so I should believe it.
Nobody would ever do that on purpose if they weren't the real thing.
That's what people are.
You know how you can even systematically break this down and make an analysis of how this is a giant work? These individuals said, it's Jesus, that's it. That's their mantra, right? And they're saying, oh, well, no, religion is a work. Don't believe this organized religion. It's all about just Jesus. And Jesus and Jesus and Jesus and Jesus. Okay, what are you basing your belief in Jesus on? The Bible. Oh, you mean the man-made Bible? So all your justification for your actions, because you're relating what you do to King David and this one and that one in a book that was written and interpreted and edited by man is okay, but when they go over there and they start preaching for money, that's not okay, because that's the work. but we're basing our stuff off of something that is a work, but we're not a work. It's all fucking scams. It's
How about the Mandela effect, where they're talking about wolves and sheep when it's lion and sheep, right? That stuck out to me. Wasn't that what?
Yeah. Well, I never.
Lion and the lamb.
Lion and the lamb, right? They're talking about wolves. I was like, that's.
I think that got changed. Yeah, I just think that got changed by stupid people.
I don't know, man. There was all those posters.
I can get away with
it. Here we go.
We can't talk about Mandela because that leads to CERN, and then what's his name gets upset about
hang
CERN.
On. Look, wait, hang on. Everybody relax.
Tuesday.
Here we go.
Jesus did.
Somewhere
Jesus did podcast.
Our podcast is chosen.
Jesus had less curls in his hair. Sorry about your damn luck.
Not when he had the crown of thorns. He had some waves going on.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Dude, somewhere Chainsfield's going.
Years ago, someone did ask me. Years ago, when I had the long hair the first time, someone did ask me to do that and to do the Stations of the Cross as Jesus back in the day. So
you just carry it around Atlanta now?
Was it the guy?
Well, I can't fucking sell that. Can't sell those whips.
I can't sell for Romans. Too close to Greeks.
Yeah. So there, my hair is down.
Yeah.
Where's Troy with some bits?
Nice.
Oh, wow.
All right, Troy.
Show some nipple and we're
this would be good for a chainsaw impression, I guess.
Chainsaw with 7,000 bits. Thanks.
Oh, I better put my coupon in for 20% off of Stevie.
Do you want to? I'm serious though. Just for a second, take a break and bring people, because we have a lot of new people in the chat room. Tell them how many, keep them up to date on how many TV shows we lost, how we came to this point, and how we're going to lose more in 2020.
Oh, quick! This is funny. So Stevie, remember when you were sending me you were sending everybody the messages about the Ghost Hunter show?
The Ghost Brothers.
The Ghost Brothers?
Yeah.
Right. So we were at, so I'm with my wife, we're in the one place and TV's on, and then there's a commercial for the Ghost Brothers, and I go, look, there you go. That's why we don't have a new car right there. And she's like, what? And I said, this is what's on TV now instead of us. So she watched it. The nurse came in, watched it. Mind you, African American nurse, and she said, this is the dumbest shit I have ever seen. So I went, two people who are not into paranormal or ghosts or anything like this watched this show and went, this is awful. This is the dumbest shit I ever seen. Now, then I said to her, I go, so let me ask you a question. So if me and three other guys were on there talking about dumb shit, she'd be like, you'd probably be better than this. And I said, thank you. That's all I needed to do. I wanted to videotape it and actually use it as a promo for our next meetup call. Look, we have an African-American nurse. She's a cross-cut of what's going to watch these shows, of the people of America who's going to watch this. You guys will probably be better than this. Probably.
So, if you ever get the chance. Dude, when I went nuts just looking at it, like, this is a parody, I thought. This is a parody when you have, like, the two guys are standing next to each other. It's some old white guy, and then it's one of the Ghost Brothers. And he literally said, the guy is just talking normally. He goes, something about, hey, can we work together? And then the Ghost Brother leans into the camera and goes, as equals. And it's like, what? And that was part of that was the sizzle reel, like, to get you hooked.
Yeah, to hook me on.
You mean he's not subservient?
What's that?
I thought the old guy was going to say, I'm retired.
I am retired. Look at me. So
speaking of injected racism in shows, did you see that when Lacey Evans came out and tried to do the kiss my hand to the black guy and like pulled away, hanging there, dude? He's like, dude, that was some serious old Southern shit of like, don't you dare touch that white woman.
That just proves she's not a good worker. She picked the wrong guy, dude. It was bad.
Dude. It was some serious plantation shit, man. I was like,
I think they actually laid out on that. They didn't say anything. Like they
didn't. They didn't say shit. They're like, boy,
we're not gonna touch that one.
Yeah, like.
All right, so tell her. You can tell the story, Sal. You tell it best.
For what? What are we talking about?
All the shows we lost.
Patton? I didn't know Patton was assassinated.
Oh, You know, Patton was assassinated because he tried
Patton
to get us a
Oswald
TV
was
show.
killed, I think.
All right, forget it. Show's over. Thank you, everybody.
What are we talking about? Chainsaw? Is that what we're talking about? Is that what we're talking about? Are we going to tell who's the new people here? So I know who I'm talking to.
I don't want to put him over. But,
put him over.
Oh, that's surprising.
There's 50. We have 53 in here, you know, and sometimes you might not get the inside jokes about Chainsaw or whatever, which is
all right. So
one of our agents.
Here's the story. Inside baseball. That's all.
It's all good.
Okay, so we were approached after being set up by, being introduced by. Can we say his name on the air? By Tommy Dreamer. Can we say that?
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay, so Tommy Dreamer, who we know, like one of us knows him. He introduced us to somebody who is from a casting company, and she immediately took a liking to Steve.
No, that's not the part of the story that you need to
wait. We're getting to this. It's a build up. It's a build up. So, upon our first meeting, it was the fat guy, the guy with the beard, George, and Steven. So there was all we saw. It was like a fern gully. All we saw was this like smoke cloud, this black smoke cloud, and this voice that sounded like gravel running through a goose's asshole. And then she kept talking to Steven, and when she asked questions, so let me ask you guys a question, Steven. What would you say what would you bring to the table aside from your abs and your pecs and your giant cock? And at that point, we heard this weird sloshing noise in the background, and I thought somebody busted a Slurpee machine, but it turned out she was finger blasting herself on the Skype that we were having this meeting at.
There's no proof of that.
Oh, there was proof. We were there.
Yeah, GGP saw the whole thing. So at this point,
GGP
George. Yeah, she didn't even know who. She called him George, and she barely got my name right. She asked me to take my hat off, so I felt like I was in the principal's office, and she kept yelling at me to steady my fucking camera. But then it didn't matter because she wasn't even looking at me the whole time. She was too busy fucking shoving a canoe oar up her fucking twiddle to watch Stevie. So as she goes on and she asks Stevie all the things that we do, and every time she would call, she'd go, "It's so good to hear from you guys, Stevie." Steven. And then when we talked about how we were going to do different things and the ideas we had, all the ideas that were amazing and awesome now turned into, well, we're not going to talk about those things. Those aren't the right things to talk about. So then Ben would jump in because Ben had the tunnel vision. Stevie was too busy going, oh gosh, God, you're killing me. And Ben come out.
Funny because it's true.
Told us, she was like, listen, this is what the idea is. We're going to be different than every other piece of shit on TV. We are going to be an entirely different piece of shit. And she's like, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Steven. Exactly what I meant. And then she told us how the NASA thing wasn't fake because she has an astronaut friend. And then all the extra phone calls that Steven got that we were never a part of.
At 3 a.m.
At 3 a.m. in the evening. And then Stevie would get on and he would look like this with his hair down and shit, and his shirt would be all ripped and he had these marks on his neck. And we're like, what the fuck happened? He was like, oh, I had a meeting with Chainsaw. Exactly. Look at him smile. He can't even say no.
And then we talked to a lot of great producers, all over the place who have done countless great pieces of work in the area that we're trying to go. They came up with a lot of great ideas for us that were better than the ideas we were pitching that, were obviously amateur.
Well, this is what we need. We need to get we need alien gold. It'll be like Oak Island in the desert with nothing.
Can you guys go to the desert and dig in the desert to find alien gold? Oh, sure we can.
I don't think I can.
Dude, I'll analyze you in the desert in a fucking track hoe, just fucking digging all day long, Sal. You're just fucking moving dirt.
That's all I'll do, and that's all I would do. I wouldn't leave that track hoe either. And And all for some reason, she kept saying, and then we'll do these really slow motion. We'll have a big fan blowing Steven's hair. And then when it gets too hot in the desert, he'll just pour a bucket of water on himself. And then we heard that weird fucking Slurpee machine again. Yeah. We heard this fucking horrible noise, and she was bouncing up and down. And it sounded like some sort of suction. Yeah.
If we get booked in Cali, or if we all get booked in fucking Arizona or something, we're going to the desert and shooting the pilot for Alien Gold. We're just
stealing it right off the bat.
Some water on it.
We can go to the playground, to the sandbox, and do that thing too, because that's how over that fucking idea was, dude.
But all of these ideas that we gave them legit fucking good ideas. And I'm not to put ourselves over. The ideas were solid and original, and they just wanted the same bullshit over and over, with Stevie taking his shirt off, and that's all that they kept giving us. Or when they really dangled that carrot and were like, how would you guys like to go to Antarctica? And we all went, oh, fuck yeah. Can Stevie still take his shirt off? That's why that got 86. He's going to wear a parka? No. My people aren't doing it. They're not doing it.
Wait, I'm going to give Chainsaw some credit, though, okay? I'm going to give Chainsaw a little bit of credit. Because at one point in the conversation, Sal was like, hey, you know, remember that shit show with this guy and this guy? It was just the shit. And the guy goes, yeah. I produced that.
The Mothman. The Mothman.
Listen, no matter what happens, as long as we don't do that shit like they had on the the Travel Channel with the fucking Mothman shit was garbage.
Yeah, I produced that.
And then the guy's like, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh shit, we just bumped up the spot.
Yeah. That was my bad. That was
the first TV show Lost.
Yeah,
I think it was the second.
I can't keep track. Sorry, lost track.
I will say Chainsaw does get the meetings, gets us in the room, but the people we get in the room with, you just want to fucking get heat on them.
Yeah,
like they're the gatekeepers. They're the key holders to like getting this into the main living room of just what we can do and outshine everybody from the Bigfoot crew or whatever the fuck they are. We'll outshine them all.
Remember, I got an idea, guys. What's your idea? Finding Bigfoot. Oh, you mean like
Finding Bigfoot?
Like that Bigfoot that no one's watching? No, but it's you guys.
How about we go to these 5 areas where within 400 miles where giant bones have been found? Nah, that's nothing we want to fuck with there.
Yeah, that's not pulling in the numbers.
No, what they said was this will be the true part of the story. So this is
wow.
So besides losing the TV shows, that's accurate. Yeah. When we kept trying, it started out where they told us straight up, we're not worth flying overseas. We can't go to Sardinia or whatever the Giants are.
Remember,
then you said it's in Ohio, and that was still too far. Then you said we're in Rome, New York, all 4 of us, and we're going to get a building to do this. And they still said that's basically too far. And that's how we did the Capitol Theater investigation ourselves. And we did our own pilot.
So I remember the first time they asked us all. So let me ask you all a question, Stephen. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? All of us fucking said Antarctica. Yeah, let's check out Antarctica. We all fucking said it. Separate points. We've all said it. All right, let's continental United States. Where would you go?
Why would you say anywhere in the world?
Then we're like, well, Arizona, they got the, by the Grand Canyon, and then in the desert there. All right, East Coast. If you can go anywhere on the East Coast in the 5 boroughs, where would you go? Well, there's a place in Rome, New York we can go. Okay, Staten Island to Brooklyn. Where exactly would you guys want to go?
Narrowing it down to her apartment on Google.
Yeah.
You're on one. You all meet at the Lost Battalion Hall. You all meet there.
Listen, hang on, stop. I'm professional. If you guys, Stephen, can come anywhere in New York and Long Island at 1169 Greenwood Ave, where would you want to go to see one of these scary monster alien things that look like my vagina swallowing your penis? Where would you want to go, Stephen? And we're like, well, we would like, no, Stephen, you. So that's Chainsaw. That's the story that Stephen wanted us to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God, it's true. It's so true. It's all of it. It's true. Yeah, we got to get one of a chainsaw.
If she listens, it's brutal. I don't even know if we're on like defamation.
What are they gonna do?
Wow.
Fire us? We fucking shot down more pilots than the Red Baron. Come on, guys.
You ain't gonna take them any higher than that with conspiracy. Let's go do a round of where the fucks we're gonna be and get out early tonight, boys.
Not on TV, that's for sure. Well, maybe Steven.
Shit. Show me one thing you've done in the last 6 months that you deserve to be on TV for.
Kind of.
Stevie, what do you got, man? We're doing all kinds of videos. Somebody tried to stooge me off in the chat room and not uploading the latest Stevie Richards broadcast. So apparently I'll be doing that right after we get off the fucking air tonight. So I won't be able to sleep otherwise.
Well, I think with we have so many episodes in the queue with the broadcast, I might go to twice a week because I got Billy Ray Valentine with the Infinite Fringe, which ironically, as the video was uploading, it was already demonetized before it even got. Like, how does that happen?
Do you want me to just give you my Podbean access? I mean, is it too much work for you to upload there? I mean, I can do it. I just feel bad when I miss an episode when I should be.
If you want to give me access, I'll just put it up every Thursday.
Okay.
I could do that. But we have that. Also, I did a pretty neat episode with how to mod an arcade one-up cabinet. So I'm going to be getting one of those soon. So we had somebody that's modded a bunch of them. What's that, Sal?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Just
awesome. Mac Brockway with 1,000 bit cheer as well, and a name we don't see a lot. So appreciate like Stevie was trying to give you guys that backstory, and now you're all caught up with So appreciate all the new users you're in on the inside jokes.
By the way, what number do you think we're at on episodes? Are we up to 100 yet?
Oh, absolutely. Because we started in August of last year or 2 years ago, so we're probably at 103 or 4 right here.
Yeah, we're at the 2-year anniversary this month in August.
Yeah.
Oh wow, 2 years we've been doing this. This is great.
Yep.
Sweet.
And
Stevie, I think we've been doing Breaking Salad long too, right? I think that's what we're on. Episode 200.
Well, I keep trying to. I like talking. I do it every day if I could with you. So
don't tell that to
I'll make it 2 from this point on. I promise. So StevieRichardsFitness.com. Choose your program. Choose your video. Like I said before on. I think I said last week. The author of Fixer God, John Bersone, and me are trying to, Pop and on, are trying to figure out a bundle deal or something we can work together on for the programs or videos and his ebook. So just stay tuned for that. Also, the YouTube channel, putting up videos a couple times a week, and that's about it. Oh, and I always forget to say it, but the free way you can support the content and everything is by going through the Amazon affiliate link. Just shop as you normally do, and I get a gift card like every quarter, and that way I can buy new equipment and stuff like that. That's it.
Awesome. And ProWrestlingTees.com/Stevie Richards coming up Labor Day, 20% off all of our stores, guys. And I actually just talked to Ryan Barkin today for the Hameen Media Group store, so hopefully ProWrestlingTees.com/HMG for all of our great producers and all the shows that you guys love to support. Give them their own shine here pretty quick, as like I said, we keep expanding going forward. Sally,
quick question. Scott Summers says first official episode of the Horsemen was released 5/10/17.
5/10/17. I thought it was August.
Wait.
On iTunes. On iTunes, it's 5/10/17.
Is that with you and Stevie talking about 9/11, or is that the four of us when we first started coming out with?
He said, first official episode of the Horsemen was released 5/10/17. It's in his iTunes.
We did your the Hameen happy hour thing, and then I turned into the Horsemen.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was August. I could be wrong, but to me, I thought we were right around episode 100, 103 here. Not to say that every one of the early episodes, I can't remember.
UFO and Aliens. He has it saved in his iTunes.
Okay, well, shout out to you, man.
Good on you.
Keeping real, man.
He said he's very organized.
Yeah, I'm trying to get new guests lined up for
That's code word for gay. I think that's what he said.
What Saturnalia practices will be performing outside tonight with the horn underneath the moon, Sal?
Yeah, baby. No, I'm going to go fucking jerk off and go to sleep. I am so fucking beat.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be.
You got a Bella Fathead?
I'm waiting for Amazon to deliver it.
He's got a Mojo Raleigh fathead.
Did you
No,
buy
I don't. Listen, man, I'm fucking hardcore. I have a Bella the merch girl from ECW fathead. Stevie does.
Bella! I thought you'd probably say you have a Miss Method fathead.
Doesn't Paul have a Debbie Beaumont fathead?
He has her actual head. He kept it. He mounted it on the wall. He plays that fucking clown game with the balloon. He has to fill it up with water, and then balloon pops. The fucking growth on the side of her face pops.
Wanted to pitch.
She's dead, by the way. It's okay. We can talk about it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So's my conversation, apparently. But I wanted to pitch a new D&D show for you because I did see that on Twitch people are playing live D&D games, man. So maybe some future way as we roll into the 20th there. I don't know. Maybe that's something you want to think about that could be something for you. I'd be down to play if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's actually it's one of the things it's one of my notes. I have a book of notes. So, and you've seen my notes. So I have a book of notes of things that I want to get to and like that I want to develop.
Sure.
One of them is actually having you guys and doing a game with people who've never played, B aren't normal players. Then just
with this, I mean, what about putting a Dungeon Master's map to do an overlay? You could do it all remotely.
The Roll20 stuff, yeah.
And I just saw that's becoming a little niche on Twitch there. And dude, there's nobody better to lead that charge than you, as well as
we had that. So we were back on Roll20 when it was all beta. And it never caught on with my group because we always would rather gather than just do it online. But now it's become a thing of we have to be online because we can't always get together. So Roll20, there's fucking Gamergate or Gamer Rollgate. There's a bunch of different apps now that are all trying to get it going. Where you can do online meetups and stuff like that to play games. But yes, I would like again, I have some information that we'll talk about off air, I guess, and then. We'll set something up.
Well, I just saw that it's growing here on Twitch, and might as well take advantage of being on the ground floor. Horror Junkyard coming out this week at all?
We are now one of our people on the Horror Junkyard has taken up some more stuff on their plate. So now we're going to have to we're going to probably do it. Me and Chuck will probably do a quick one, maybe a 30-minute for a couple things we've seen. He came over, we're hanging out, we watched a couple movies, and we thought they'd be fun to talk about. So aside from that, we're going to probably put them out, but it's going to be likely in September, the beginning of September, before we get all three of us together and do it.
I wanna suggest a movie you should watch. It's called The Atlanta Chainsaw Massacre. Very hardcore.
Only one was killed in it.
So how's our show doing, Sal?
Which show?
The solo show.
What solo show?
For Kat.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't I don't know. She does her KHS, but now like I said, that's going to probably be the production of that will probably be knocked back to once a month. She's got some other stuff going on. So her time has been reduced. So, but when she does it again, she's doing. I give her credit. You know what? Here's the thing. I give her credit. She's going live, and a couple of the guys in the chat room, Armand and Tuttles and those guys, they show up and they have a good conversation. They talk about serial killers, and I'm sure Armand fucking pants down. He's going at it. He's fucking on his neck. He's flogging the bishop as he's watching. So I'm sure. So yeah,
with the tweezers, right?
It's got those big fucking Egon spectacles.
Speaking about once a month, Stevie, you earned your Red Wings through Chainsaw, right?
Whoa.
You can get his shirts, original artwork at prowrestlingtees.com/SEG shirts.
Looks like a horrific Rorschach painting.
He's not just a terrific co-host, a comedic genius, but he's also a great artist. In the way he draws. So check out his shirts over there, SCG shirts, Pro Wrestling Tees, 20% off. coming up on September 1st. And another guy who's got so much going on, from winning titles to battling in the stars, as Disney overloads his sensory every goddamn week, and he can't sleep anymore. He's sweating thinking about every alternative universe story he could fucking come up with, and he just can't wait to get to Disney World and leave his family to try and get over there and get hired. But GGP, what's going on for you, man, next couple weeks?
Let's see. Tomorrow night I'll be wrestling in Deer Park, Long Island. NYWC Wrestling's having their show Hotter Than Hell. That's because the building's going to be hotter than hell, but it's going to be a great card. So you can go check them out, nywcwrestling.com for tickets. Tomorrow, the NFO podcast drops. You can check out myself, Darth Spiridon, and Dr. Alex Arroyo. We touch base on what happened at D23 and how it relates to the Star Wars universe. We verbally rape Ray, as we normally do on every podcast. He's a sensitive sunflower, so give him a follow on Big Ray Show or Ray Big Show, whatever the hell it is, on Twitter and Instagram.
Dark Ray?
No, not Dark Ray. Snowflake SJW Ray. And that's it about the New Force Order. You can get it at NFO_podcast on Twitter, New Force Order on Instagram, and Official New Force Order on Facebook. And send us your emails. We're not cool enough to have a CERN protected server, so we're a New Force Order at yahoo.com.
True story, kid.
Myself, you can follow me at Greek God Papadon on Facebook. I'm sorry, on Twitter and Instagram. Demetrius Papadon on the Facebook, and then Pro Wrestling Tees / Greek God Papadon, and the Greek God Papadon is the YouTube channel where you can see my promos and my matches and how Stevie carried me in Pittsburgh and we had a great match.
Aww.
Nice. Yeah, man.
There was only one set of footprints in Pittsburgh. That's where I carried you.
I'm going to use that for my match in November against the Hawks, kid.
Wait a minute, I thought you were retired. You lying stuck as shit.
I am retired. I have to finish my commitments. That's all.
All right. It's no coincidence he's wrestling someone's son. Fucking.
That's how old I am. I'm wrestling somebody's son. I wrestled Luke when he was a kid, too.
That's when he was Altar Boy Luke, right?
When he just came out. Altar Boy Luke, yes.
Shout out to my buddy Luke Hawks. I love you, brother.
Shout out to all my Conspiracy Horsemen brothers. Shout out to everybody.
Contact him in December for a booking.
No, not at all. Him and I talk all the time. We make fun of you mostly.
Well, hook me up if I'm getting you.
Charge an extra now.
Check out the Hameen Media Discussion Group if you want to get through Raw and SmackDown with all the like-minded people here in the chat room at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horsemen. You want to send us a hot tip, a stooge report, a whistleblower report as we try and line up more guests, or anything that slips through the cracks, definitely hit us up at conspiracyhorsemen@gmail.com. We appreciate that. This General Patton show spun out of that, something we had no idea, so we appreciate you guys sending up the signal flare on that one, as always. Shows going on here at hackerhameen.podbean.com or Hacker Hameen on iTunes, where most of you guys are downloading us. We appreciate that, leaving those 5-star reviews, and everyone just leaving great reviews everywhere that we're posting these shows. YouTube, on my channel as well, Ben Hameen. Big news as we combine with Russo Brand to offer even more coverage for advertising. We want to appreciate Voices of Misery podcast all through this month, and is now going to re-up with us next month and going to be featured on Russo Brand as well. Just awesome synergy from independent artists, independent content creators, all trying to beat this corporate media bullshit so we don't have to go through Chainsaw to jump through some fiery hoop for some fuckhead who doesn't know how to make anything creative or anything original and reach a real demographic that wants to learn and be awake from the real truth seekers like my brothers, the Conspiracy Horsemen. So y'all law infidels, you know where it is. It's prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hameen, at Ben_Hameen on Twitter, and at Hacker Hameen for all your $5 face slaps. Follow us, infidels, because it's my Conspiracy Horseman brothers. YOLO.